Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bo Snail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, NA Literalist, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'm going to hand over to whoever is in Google and Discord so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
It's really quick. I was actually going to ask somebody about the the cryptocurrency because I heard he's pretty good with that. But I just listened and they were dogging Sleeping Warrior for some reason. Something about something that he went into and he paid his money, but I don't know what the hell they were talking about. I can't think of it right now.
Just ask him when you see him next.
Yeah, they were talking about the scam that this guy pulled. The one you were talking about, Red's Rhetoric and them, and then how they somehow got into Sleeping Warrior. So he'll probably know. I'll ask him.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about, but yeah, fine. I don't know if Red's Rhetoric is scamming anybody. I know he supported Sean Huffraud, but that isn't Red's Rhetoric actually scamming anybody. Maybe I'm wrong. I've seen people in comments saying otherwise. Now, I've not got any interest in investigating it. None. So I'm not going to say, this or that or the other's true. Don't get me wrong, because there's been enough presented on Sean Hufford for me to say, yeah, the guy blatantly ripped off a load of different people, including contributors to a PayPal, Contribute Me or whatever they call it, GoFundMe, that's the one. And his landlord, who had to sue him. So he's like, well, this is pretty cut and dry. He scammed everybody. And, he got support from Red Rhetoric in that, but that's not Red Rhetoric. I don't think any of the money went to him as far as I was aware.
I think he was part of it in a way.
Well, it's like saying I've ripped off if you're going to tar that brush on Red Rhetoric, right, then you can tar the same exact brush on me because I helped Ranty do a GoFundMe for a drone that is apparently in question now. Does that have anything to do with me? No. I helped him in his quest to get the drone, and likewise, Red Rhetoric helped Sean in his quest to get rent money, apparently. Now, that doesn't make him culpable, is that the correct term? I think it is. Neither am I. If someone said, well, where's Ranty's drone? I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't get any of the money. I supported him in his quest to get one. That's where I came in. Likewise, Red Rhetoric. Now, if someone else turns around and says, Red Rhetoric has actually done this, that, and the other, I don't care.
And another thing, I told Bev months ago to get in touch with QE and get this whole thing straightened out before it somehow erupts somewhere. And it did.
Well, what erupts?
Not too bad, but still.
What erupts? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that whole thing that happened the other day when QE came on about the Black Swan argument. And they wound up getting into a few words.
Yeah.
But it's been brewing for a while.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. It's people. It's a power struggle thing, and I get it. I'm not gonna pull it apart for Bev and embarrass him by doing so. Instead, I'll use Eli. So yesterday, Eli was keen to get in and give us a moon that's impossible. I'll say it with a drone in my voice because there's so many times people have presented these. But he was cutting into us pointing out that Katz has made a concession about the Rayleigh criterion and how you can calculate diffraction limits. He's like, I've also got a globe proof. I've got a globe destroyer. So you go, okay. He's like, I've been waiting 15 minutes to. So it's like, in his mind, because he's got something juicy and new, it overrides everything. People are selfish. Sorry, Eli. But that's just human nature. I'm not picking on Eli. I'm just doing it so that we're not picking on... who was it we were talking about? I've forgotten now.
Bev and QE. No,
Bev
but
and
what I'm
QE,
saying
right.
is,
Exactly. Bev's heart's in the right place. Now, if he's inadvertently or intentionally made out that the Black Swan's a rubbish argument because of whatever, I think in defence of Bev, he's doing that because he's like, look at my argument. And when he was here defending it, he was like, no, I'm not saying it's a rubbish argument. I'm just saying it's a bit rubbish of an argument because of blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, fine. It doesn't matter. You've got a good argument and you want people to know about that, and we're talking about Black Swan all day long. Now, that can manifest in, well, bloody Black Swan's crap argument. Look at my argument. You know, that's how it's manifested. And not for any reason that's not reasonable, QE's taken umbrage with that. Yeah, fair enough. They thrashed it out. All's well that ends well.
Good morning.
Hello.
Morning, 10th. Yeah, but it could have been prevented. That's all I'm saying. But
Well, look
which
at my
leads me...
argument.
1 second. I'm done in 1 second, I promise. Which leads me to this. I think you're right. I think Bev didn't want to talk to QE because I think deep down inside he does think that the black wants a shit argument.
I don't think it's the case. No, I don't think he thinks it's a shit argument, and he made that explicitly clear when he was here. He's saying, yeah, but look at my argument. Now, the yeah, but can easily be spun into by Bev or anybody else. Well, it's crap then. And
Well,
what he maybe
both.
is saying is, it's crap compared to my argument. Mine's much better. And then when put on the spot, and, you know, ultimately part of his argument actually has, you know, Black Swan attributable to it, you go, okay, you can now see the parallels. They're both, you know, mutually exclusive. Both good arguments in their own right.
Man, that's the hardest peace pipe I try to bring into a debate. Yeah, look at my argument.
Yeah, that's it.
You got the Black Swan. You got the Black Swan. You got Bev's. Both are fantastic arguments. And then I come in with the third with how a sextant works. And they're all good.
Indeed.
Agreed, but you don't have the pride they have, 10th man.
Well, then that's none of our business, then, is it?
Yeah, that's not our concern, exactly.
Correct.
But where there's a good argument, I'll shout it from the hilltops. So, you know, this backbiting isn't necessary. And some people, Bev in this instance, might, I'm not saying he is, be like that when they just want to hit, out of frustration, they just want their argument to be heard. They don't want it constantly slapped down, which might be the case for Bev. I don't know, I'm just speculating. In the light of the Black Swan. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, Bev, but Black Swan, and maybe he's got sick of hearing it to the point of frustration, and he's going, I'm sick of hearing the crappy Black Swan argument. Look at my great argument. Nobody's paying attention. And that could be not a reasonable justification to say it's a crappy argument. It isn't. But I could understand the steps that you could get there out of frustration if you've got a cracking argument and you've done the work and you're out treading the boards trying to get people to listen to it. I get it.
What argument did you come up with?
They both involve water.
Okay, then.
Right?
I got a point. What argument did you come up with?
I'm not finished with my point.
Well, then what do you stop talking for?
I didn't. Why'd you interrupt? They both involve water. The horizon, when it's looked over the ocean or from the seashore. Bev uses the canal, which is water. We know sea level, and the water in the canal is level. And when you bring in even the argument using the sextant in the ocean, you have to use the horizon where the sky meets or seems to meet the edge of the water. And so they all involve water. Something has to be level for a horizon coordinate system to work. And that is the horizon, your baseline. That has to be level, or you can't get an angle. So they're all good arguments. No matter, see, I said the black swan is a technical proving of the sextant argument is a technical proving and of the black swan, because black swan puts limitations to what a curve can do, and the sextant can't work with those limitations. So sextant can't have any limitations at 1.22 miles. It's got to be flat all the way to the GP, geographical position of the star or sun or moon. And if that's 3,000 miles away, that's got to be a zero baseline all the way. And that's got to be the horizon, no matter what you think you can't see or what is miraged, or refraction has no bearing on the sextant argument, because you got to have that baseline all the way to the zenith position of that sun 3,000 miles away. And if that's on the curve, that's coming in sideways. And if it's coming in sideways because it's that zenith position on the curved Earth, then you can't get an angle from where you are because you need a tangent.
Which is where all three arguments overlap. So Bev's saying in the 3D world we encounter, you're not going to acquire your tangent that you're utilizing in your 2D spherical geometry. You don't have this straight in your reality. You've got it in your model. It doesn't translate into a 3D reality though. So he's saying in terms of the way we measure, we've got a measurable 3D world that we encounter with a baseline that's flat. And that doesn't work in your spherical geometry. And at the end of his explanation, he's like, they can't acquire their tangent for their spherical geometry in the 3D world we live in. You go, that's where all three of these arguments intersect. Because in the Black Swan argument, you can't acquire a tangent if you don't have a geometric horizon. So they all hinge on the same point, which is their assertion of the geometry requiring a tangent.
Exactly. And when Bev said that, it was so good because I had said on a show previous to you that they could only do this in orthographic view with a two-dimensional drawing. They can't do it in reality because, as Bev said, they got the X and Y, but they don't have the Z.
But they can kind of do it, but when you've shown the depictions of it, they're drawing a straight, flat tangent plane on top of the sphere to actually work with. You're like, well, that's bonkers. That's not what's beneath the actual feet of the observer according to their geometry. Why are you drawing out the flat surface? Well, to make it work, that's why.
Well, that's their demise, though, because all they do is they have a localized tangent where the straight line at one point meets the curve. And they take liberty to make it longer in their drawings as if it's a little bit longer than that point where it just touches. Okay, but the point is they still have the sun 3,000 miles away on the side angle, and that little line they draw on top of the surface of their two-dimensional circle there, if you extend that, that's going into open space. It's not at all going to follow that curve in any way. And that sun coming at that other angle has to be zenith to that angle because they got to go into the center of the circle, the radius. So this local flat is a joke because local flat is that little line they draw on the orthographic view, but it's not even realistic because it can't work that way. Because the sun over there 3,000 miles away on the side of the ball has to have a local flat. And I've sent that picture over before. And you're not going to get an angle. If you can't achieve an angle, then you can't achieve the distance where you are, and the sextant doesn't work and never has worked.
Right.
Well, we know better, don't we?
Well, they know better too. That's why they draw out a tangent plane. They do exactly as you've described. They drop a tangent, drop a plumb line and call that a zenith and say it's pointing to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, and from here I'll draw out a line so I can create a flat surface to actually work with. You're like, that wouldn't be necessary if it was actually spherical, nor would it work if it was spherical. You wouldn't draw out a flat surface to work with if it was actually spherical. You'd have to deal with the fact that it was spherical. but you don't.
That's right.
You throw in a flat tangent plane to actually work with, so you can get the angles, because that's how it does actually work, because it is actually on a flat surface.
The more I think about it, the more it doesn't make any sense to ball. But me personally, gas pressure out of container, you can't get around that. Nobody can. That to me is the rock solid. You can't get around it. Look, it came back to it with Simon Dan asking whatever this guy was, scientist, astrophysicist, whatever he was. To me, you can't beat that.
Hey, Nathan, I'm going to send you a picture right now. See, how do I do it? Oh, there it is. Another way that this is going to fall on their face, let me get this out to you. All right, tell me when you got it. It's a masterpiece.
On screen.
Okay, so here's three versions of tangents meeting a circle. You can see they need that radius, and this is the other debacle of them. When the observer takes a reading with a sextant, they're not at the center of anything. They might be at the center of their sailboat on the surface of the water, but they're not going to the center of a circle or a globe to take that reading. But that's the only way their globe angles could work, is if you go to the center, because all you're doing is taking what you would do on the surface and taking it to the center. And because you can get a 90-degree angle from the center, as you can see in number 2, the right angle, they say, see, if sun rays, sunlight for some, since the sun is 93 million miles away, that light is hitting us parallel. Even though it's divergent when it starts, it has to hit us parallel because it's so far away. And yet every time we look out and there's some clouds or trees to where we can actually spot and see how the sunlight is hitting us, it's always divergent, which is really the opposite. And they must give in to this, but they don't. Wait a minute, there's divergent rays there. So in your argument, that can only happen if the sun is close. But you say the sun is far away and light comes in parallel. Well, nor do I see it parallel, but then it just reverses your argument. So if you believe that and you base it on the distance, then you must believe what I'm seeing means it's not the distance you think it is. So they're dead there. And they need sunlight to come in parallel for even the number 2 picture on this slide to work, because you can't get that same angle on the surface as you do from the center. And that's the little trick of theirs. But that only works on a circle with a 2-dimensional drawing here, because you can do this. But it's not in reality, because no one's going to the center of the earth and driving a measurement from there. So if you're on the surface and you're driving a measurement, you can see how those tangents line, whether it's acute angle, or obtuse angle, or a right angle. You need straight lines, and there's no way you're going to get an angle without 2 straight lines, and there's no way you're going to get an angle from the surface of circle or sphere.
Yeah, there needs to be like a overlapping presentation with QE, Bev, and yourself, where you explain how all 3 of these arguments join, because you're detailing how this can only work in a 2D representation of circle geometry in this regard, right? Well, that's Bev's point as well. And
that's right.
Our point, or universally on this particular panel with the Black Swan, we're saying to acquire the geometry of the sphere at radius 3959, you need to have a tangent point. In their maths, that's the geometric horizon, the edge of their sphere. So all 3 of these arguments converge on this exact same point on screen right now, the tangent.
Well, I'll give credit to both QE and Bev. I was here when QE put together the Moeller-Tollens, and it was at that time I shared with QE, hey, this is because I'm into boating and I was looking at different things, and I said that the sextant proves what you're saying. And QE liked it. He says, wow, let's keep that for a little while. So I started doing research more on it. But at the same time, I was listening to Bev, because he was talking about geometry and how geometry works, and it wasn't any big topic of mine in school. So I was curious because, shapes and things, and obviously it relates to what we're talking about. So I started talking to Bev about different parts. So Bev schooled me on geometry and sent me good links. Huey schooled me on what a Mohs tollens is and how he used their distance to horizon. And then in the middle, I'm thinking, wait a minute, there's a technical tool that will prove both their points. And that's what you just, commented on. They're all three very kind to each other. They all support one another.
Indeed,
Yeah,
which
but
is
he
why
also feels like he should have been on that presentation. I do.
We're off. We're off of that anyway. So I got another slide for you.
Can I finish what I was saying?
and after the
I was
presentation.
going somewhere else with that. That's fine.
Go
No,
on,
go ahead.
Neil.
Do what you got to do. That's all right.
Thank you. I just don't like the drama when I'm trying to bring peace.
And hello, I was going somewhere else with it, but you didn't give me a chance. But that's okay, Tent. Go ahead. It's your show.
All right. Yeah. No, it's not my show. I have another slide, and then I'm sorry to do that, and I'll let you. I didn't mean to do what you say I did, but I must have. So I'm sorry. You got the other slide up, Nathan? Hello.
See, you even got on Nathan's nerves. I was just gonna say it's about feelings too.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody's the way they are. Just gotta deal with each other.
You're right. Me and you got Nathan feeling hurt.
Yeah,
Okay.
but listen, I like both of them, so it makes me cringe.
No, I agree with you. I know. I know with your heart what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Alrighty then.
Nathan, did you get that picture?
Yeah, it's on screen.
Okay, where'd you go?
I'm starting the show up. I've got various different things that I have to do beforehand. And
Okay. Well, you got 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and then you dump us to go push a button. Come on, man.
Yes, it's that easy, obviously.
All right. So
Wow, that's insulting, Tent. How dare you?
How dare you? Can we all shut up?
Well,
10th man?
just
Let's
feelings.
just hear...
Remember feelings.
Right, can we just hear the end of 10th man's presentation? It's on screen. Go ahead.
Okay, so you have the sextant there, and it's major parts are defined with A through whatever, and then you have the horizon, your baseline. You got to have that tangent, and then you've got the sun somewhere over the Earth. Well, that somewhere where that sun is could be 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles away from you, and if you're on the curve, its zenith position over that part of the Earth is coming in towards that center of that 2D circle that they depicted with. And there's no way you can achieve an angle over a curve as this is showing. There's absolutely no way that angle could be achieved this way on a curve. It must work with a tangent. And I'm going to send you, where is this one? There we go. I got one last one, and it's all yours. Go push the buttons. Tell me when this one comes up.
Yes, it's on screen.
Thank you. So this one right here, very simple. It's a different version of the previous drawing. You need that, see that 90 degree, that little square there, and the eye. See that square there? That's got to be there because that's where the sun is, where that little square is designating 90 degree. And it tells you you're 40 degrees from it. If that was curved, you can never get that. You always, wherever the sun is, it creates that right angle to your eye. And then your eye to the sun says 40 degrees. You need that straight line. You need that tangent, or the sextant doesn't work. Or the Earth is not a sphere. It is plane. I'm done.
Cool, good stuff.
You make it so clear, Tent. I see it in my mind as you're saying it.
It's been fun learning it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's nice having good people around you. You know, Brian and Bev and QE.
Yeah. No, altogether, your panel has brought so much. If I can contribute, fine. Literally, we all learned more on your show than we did in school.
Don't forget the ballers. They've been they've been helping us out lately.
They have to help us out because they double speak. And when it's on that other speak, they help us out. And then when they go to the other side of the double speak, we laugh. The law of non-contradiction is great because half of it is our arguments. The other half is them going crazy.
I'd say Elon Musk's going to come out soon and say we know it's a globe because we measure it flat.
Hey, John. You're probably right.
Elon Musk has been warning America about tampering with AI. He says they could take over the world. We're talking Terminator stuff here.
And we got our John Connors on the phone.
I gotta get to the chopper.
They would probably be better rulers than the ones we got now. So
Are you saying they would do a better job than God?
No,
they
that's
do a
not what-
better job than politicians.
But God made them.
Yeah.
God made politicians like they are.
Good one, John.
God made the people. Well, through procreation.
Yeah, and he also said, if you don't repent, you're going to pay for it.
Oh, and by the way, I found some historical evidence on Jesus. I'm going to bring it forth, just not on this show, but I found some.
There's plenty.
Wrong show. Hello.
Yeah, this is physics show.
Yeah, no, I didn't say on this show. I'm just saying, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. John, how's it going?
Get Nathan.
Not a lot of sleeping going on.
Oh, yeah, I figured that.
But yeah, you had a kid, haven't you? I forgot to say congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It was a very interesting story.
Why, you had another baby, John?
Yeah, my wife had a kid in the front seat of the car.
Wow.
On the way to the hospital.
Congratulations. God bless.
Thank you.
Well, that kid will never be called a backseat driver.
That's what you want, isn't it? That's what you want. You want the kid to arrive before you even get anywhere near the hospital.
Hey, I was the best at that. We did all our labor in the house. When we pulled to the hospital, within half hour, my wife was spitting them out.
What you want.
But
Yeah,
my
this has been.
brothers- I'm sorry. My brothers and my last child, my brothers who were at the house, they were like losing their mind. Like, take it to the hospital. I'm like, relax. I understand what's going on.
I thought I did. It was a 2-hour labor.
You
Just
didn't
2
time
hours.
it right, John. You got to time it right.
That's pretty quick though, eh?
Hello,
you wouldn't
guys.
expect it to be that sort of speed. That is pretty efficient. You know what I mean?
It's insane. And the contractions, they were like 8-10 minutes apart, and then they stopped for 20 minutes, and then the baby came.
Wow. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, father of a stolen child, Brian's Logic, Arwin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Hello,
Morning,
hello.
morning.
Good afternoon.
Oi.
Good afternoon, welcome.
Morning.
Hello, Redman, good to have you. Any evidence?
Redman.
Always.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
You can't detect it.
Nah.
Nah.
What do you mean detect it?
Well, you can
I've never
formulate
seen
it. You can measure. Yeah, you can calculate it, but you can't actually detect it because of the curve function collapse.
He's been saying that on his show as well. I was chuckling while I was watching your show this morning, Arwin. The curve function collapse. The problem, as soon as you observe it, it becomes flat. The moment you try and observe curvature, it collapses into locally flat. I mean, there's not a lot you can do about it. It's the, what you call it again, Arwin?
Exactly. That's how it works.
What's
so,
it called?
yeah, as soon as you engage in detection of any sort using radar or laser or your eyes or a camera, yeah, things will reveal themselves as flat because of the wave or the curve function collapse effect.
Curve function
But
collapse,
you can
that's the
still
one.
calculate it as spherical, though.
Back in reality, and speaking of cameras, there is a limit to the resolution of a camera, calculable with the Rayleigh criterion. That would be the point where things can no longer be resolved, also known as the diffraction limit. Something that is absolutely, unequivocally not included in an Earth curve assertion that has a physical geometric sphere edge blocking your view, and has feet and inches or meters ascribed to the targets, so that you do not account for the reduction in angle at distance, typified by National Geographic's picture of a boat going over a sphere edge in orthographic Muppet vision, where you've got the bottom of Earth curve blocking a boat on a scale that would have the boat 3,000 miles away. But nevertheless, the boat's still exactly the same scale and size because it excludes perspective. The boat's, 70 foot high? The man's 6 foot high? Well, we don't have to represent any changes when it gets further away now, do we? Fortunately, this point that we were barking about for about 3 straight years, I checked, 2018 was when we were talking about this. 3 years later, our opponents have started to recognise that there are other effects beyond Earth curve, that single assertion in their Earth curve maths, that can cause things to disappear with distance. One of them being an effective perspective called the Rayleigh criterion and the diffraction limit. So hashtag thanks cats once again. It's been a month solid of thanking cats.
Right, but
It has.
Nathan, you do overlook that the mistake they really made is they used the calculations, the spherical calculations of where things should be in sight if the curve function collapse would not occur, right? That was the mistake they made. They didn't realize that, yeah, it does collapse, making it flat. But if that wouldn't happen, then it would have been correct what they attempted.
No, that is correct, Darwin. And the way they've achieved that is by taking reality, which is what you see with your eyeballs or the frame of a camera when you present a picture to somebody, and then presenting you with the side of your own head, as described right on cue from National Geographic. So here you are, before curve function collapse, seeing the side of your own head. You're like, that's not how we see the world. This is supposed to be representative of Earth curve mathematics, with a Muppet vision that's orthographic side on view to a boat that is claimed to have Earth curve obstruction, physical geometric horizons blocking your view of it. And exactly as described, this scale will give you the boat at a few thousand miles away. But obviously that's not going to be factored in. It's just going to be a meters or feet value ascribed to this boat when you tell us that it's only disappeared from bottom up because the Earth curve's got in the way, ignoring the fact that the bottom of the boat's got the most limited angle against the deck. And that limited angle can cause things to reach and breach a diffraction limit, causing them to disappear completely from view.
Hey, Nathan, wasn't there a number in the Rayleigh criteria, like 1.2 or something?
It's the camera aperture, lambda over the camera aperture, I believe. But yeah, 1.22. I don't know the Rayleigh criterion off the top of my head.
Okay, so that 1.22, is that the same thing that we do with the Black Swan?
No,
Incidentally?
that's what I was trying to contrast yesterday, when I also got the Rayleigh criteria wrong. Anyway, the contrast is that you've got the same similar maths. Now, I'm no mathematician, and it's been 3 or 2.5 years since that particular aspect was broken down for me by Life is Short. Subsequently, you've got Flat Earth, what's the guy's name? He's changed his name recently, which is why I can't credit him.
Data?
So, Data, yeah. That's his old name, though. I can't remember his new name to credit him. Anyway, Flat Earth Data was in the chat when he was around. He's not at the moment. Highlighting that comparison mathematically, which is something that's beyond my scope. You know, I know my limitations. He can do it. Maybe I'll have him on the show to make that contrast mathematically, which is beyond my limitations. Not embarrassed to say so. But by the same token, yeah, bit of a coincidence, eh? We've got a limitation to our view at 1.22. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you've also got the same exact number in the limitation of view caused by Earth curve when excluding all aspects of perspective. That's no coincidence.
I think it's interesting the way the horizon can change its position depending on which device you use to measure with.
That's because, as put by Life is Short, when people say incorrectly the horizon rises to eye level, that's wrong. The horizon is your eye level. So it's not like a physical point in the distance is moving as you raise. It's your view, and therefore if you change the aperture of your camera, you change the diffraction limit, the point where you can't resolve the difference between the sea and the thing on top of it. That happens at the horizon. The, what do you know in art terms, vanishing point. What's that you all say, Globers? No, that's Earth curve getting in the way. Yeah, well, what's the Rayleigh criterion? Oh, it's a point where you can have things disappear through diffraction, where you can't resolve them anymore. Oh, right, where's that in Earth curve maths? It isn't. It's just Earth curve getting in the way. We ignore all aspects of perspective. Oh, by the way, hashtag thanks, cats, for now detailing exactly that, which is not included in your Earth curve maths. That would be the diffraction limit. Amazing that the ballers are now detailing it to their own bloody audience. How times have changed, eh?
Wasn't there a claim that they could see if there was a telescope all the way to their backside? How can they even make that claim when the eye, obviously there's a vanishing point with our eye?
Very well put. So when they made the assertion that if you could have the right conditions conducive with 7/6R refraction juxtaposed into their refraction that allows infinite over 6R, you can see the back of your own head in a telescope. Oh, really? I beg to differ. Number one, we don't have refraction at a rate that's based on a radius. We've debunked the radius with the Black Swan. But further to that, at the distance, if you straightened it out and ignored their nonsensical bend around the world refraction that relies on R, I would postulate that you would be too small to see. If you took the same distance and said a man 24,000 miles away through any telescope will be visible, no, he'll be too small. And you can calculate where he'd disappear with the diffraction limit based on the Rayleigh criterion and the aperture of your camera over the wavelength of light. So, yeah, these things are real. You know what we got told 3 years ago? That's flare perspective. Don't need that. We've got geometry. Not anymore. Now we're told we wouldn't expect to see geometry.
Oh, the times have changed.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Interesting. You can ask that question. I was coming back with 3 golfers yesterday from an outing, and the one in the passenger seat was talking about how the day before he and his buddy went into the rabbit hole on some of the issues that exist out there. And so I said, okay, so he's going down the rabbit hole on some conspiracies. Let me see if I could, say something. So of course I waited to hear him out, and then I brought in the sun. And so I said, hey, look, there's the sun there. And what do you see through the clouds? I go, are those rays parallel or are those rays divergent? And man, they were as divergent as you can get, on that drive back home yesterday. And he says, well, what do you mean divergent? I go, funny angles. He goes, oh yeah, definitely funny angles. And I said, well, it's supposed to be 93 million miles away. So how does that work? And he turned around, he says, now, you guys, have you checked out the flat earth? Yeah, so I was dying at that point. I said, yeah, go on. Let me hear what you got. And so we had a conversation all the way home, and we came on axial rotation. And I said, hey, when you were golfing today, did you have to adjust for it? Did you feel the earth spinning? He says, no. I go, well, that's what's supposed to happen. When your golf ball goes up in the air, the earth has to spin underneath it. He had the weirdest look on his face. He says, wow, that's stupid.
I bet you were really pleased with the outcome. And then you come here and someone like me says, what do you mean it's supposed to be 93 million miles away? Slap, slap, slap.
Yeah, it was a fun. Yeah, they all loved it. It was good.
Yeah, but we're guilty on the flat earth side of the reification which has been hardwired into us. So we still say things like the clock's not supposed to be seen. You're not supposed to see the clock. Or the sun's supposed to be 93 million miles away. Is it supposed to be 93 million miles away? No. Is the clock supposed to be behind Earth curve? No.
No. So it's reality. It's not. It's the way they've been educated, brought up, and it's the first thing they tell you. But it's 93 million miles away. Okay, yeah, that's what they tell you.
Based on R. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius. Debunked by the Black Swan.
No, because the sun is much closer to us, and so R can't be based on R, so there's no evidence for R.
As long as
Can't
the
measure
curve
it.
function is not collapsed, the R can persist if calculated.
But that curve function and R.
If you can't measure it, it ain't real.
Indeed. That's the end of the globe argument, by the way.
Yeah, it's well said there, John. And Nathan, if you could just take a little bit, and for the audience as well as us, they calculate everything. They've never measured anything. They calculate it to a presupposed model.
Yeah, they required a tangent point to assert the geometry that they claimed was perfectly acceptable to beg the question of. Well, we know we've got an R value at radius 3959. We know we're on a sphere. Well, how do you know? Well, we measure it. Well, how do you measure it? Well, we take a dip angle measurement. We drop a tangent to this horizon, and that's how we get the R value. Do a bit of trig. It's dead easy. That gives us our R. All right, so we've got to have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon then. That's the proof of it. The edge of it being the tangent point for this maths that gives you the R value. That's correct. Well, how can the horizon be beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere radius 3959, as demonstrated in these images we call black swans? Well, it's refracted, so you can't measure the R value then.
Gets better than
That's where it
that.
ends.
It gets better than that. We've never seen it.
We've never seen it. We
You
wouldn't
can't
expect to
see it.
see
You
geometry.
can't measure
Nobody's
it.
claiming the horizon's Earth curve. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. Those are the rebuttals from the globe side.
That's right, because
ain't
of
measured,
curve
it ain't
function
real.
collapse.
let Alwyn get his joke in for the 4th time. It's very important, John.
It's not a joke. It's their next savior. It's the next excuse they need, right? First they got terrestrial refraction. Now there's the curve function collapse. Right? That's why you can't detect it. That's why you can't measure it. You can only calculate it, because if you try to detect it, the curve function collapse sets in and then it will turn out completely flat. So yeah, you can't measure it.
What did you measure to calculate it?
You can't. That's what he's saying. As soon as you go to measure it, you end up with it all being flat.
So you can't calculate it.
No, that's what one of the Arwinian paradox byproducts. If you're going to assume it, go on, Arwin.
You can still derive the equator length and then calculate it based on that.
That's movement of celestial bodies. We cover that as well.
I'm just saying you can still calculate it even if it's not based on measurements.
Right, you can still calculate the amount of consumption a unicorn will require in hay, right? Doesn't mean that unicorns are real, but you can definitely calculate that.
Well, you can't really disprove they're real, so...
Argument from ignorance fallacy. Let's move on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
We don't need any. According to Einstein and what happened, was it 106 years ago? It's been superseded.
Yeah, mass doesn't attract mass.
Well, they knew that, and when they couldn't demonstrate that, they had to make up something else real quick, or else everyone else was going to say, hey, how come I'm not seeing mass attract mass ever? Oh, okay, so let's bring in 4th dimensional.
Where has it ever been officially stated that mass doesn't attract mass, right? I think that the Cavendish setup has been ignored and then proceeded by Einstein, but I don't think it's ever literally said, no, this isn't true.
And what is the Cavendish? What did you call it? An experiment?
No, they haven't. Arwin's point is that the old and busted, not working rules that you've got asserted as laws haven't ever been decried, taken off the books, whatever you want to call it, memory hold. They still assert it. And the fact that they've got a completely contrary position with pseudo force space, which has superseded the mass attracting mass, which you can debunk with a kettle or a helium balloon. You know, that is Arwin's point. They still have that rhetoric, even though it doesn't make any sense anymore and has been replaced.
Well, it hasn't really been replaced. That's the point. There's just an alternative route into pure conception. Yeah, one can argue freely, and even people as dumb as Fight the Flat Earth have reasoned out, yeah, well, maybe the bending of space-time causes an emergent force that is mass attracting mass, right?
Yeah,
and that's a natural conclusion to come to based on these loose fragments left out in the open.
Yes, there's a lot of bullshit to go by. Yes, you can use a lot of nonsense to bamboozle people. Yes, that's right, Arwin. Doesn't change the fact that the current rhetoric is in fact a superseded position with Einsteinian superseding Newtonian. That is the current rhetoric. Mass does not attract mass.
I don't know, man. The only thing that actually points at the refuting, as you say, is snapping the wand in two. That's like the only thing that was ever said to basically point at that. But what does that even freaking mean, right? It's getting weird. What wand? You know, so I'm not too sure. I think it's suggested, like, let's move on to this. Let's move on to this Einsteinian gravity. But they never actually completely said, look, this is wrong. Mass is not attracted by mass. I've never read it anywhere. I never read mass is not attracted by mass. Right? Okay. So it's left open.
They just need to assert it and then prove it if they want to. In other words, if they want to come here and say, no, Arwin, that we haven't denounced it because it's true. Oh, really? Show me where in nature mass attracts mass. Oh, I dropped this microphone. Oh, I dropped this helium balloon.
Right.
And there's another problem.
But that's because of buoyancy, though.
that whole paradigm has been superseded.
Correct. As has the Einsteinian, but we're having a job to get them to move past their 106-year out-of-date mass-attracting mass rhetoric, superseded by Einsteinian nonsense, which has been pummeled. But we can't even get them to concede to their current rhetoric of Einsteinian gravity. They want to assert that mass attracts mass. It doesn't. Debunked by any gas. It's not attracting, right? It's repelling. Bounces off anything. It's not attracted to the centre of Earth. If it gets to it by coincidence, because it happens to have bounced on something above it and then head downwards, gas expanding in all directions randomly at high speed, that isn't it coalescing around the Earth because it's got mass. Au contraire, it does not do that. Debunking the assertion that mass attracts mass. If in their paradigm they want to assert that gas has mass, which it does in their paradigm, then it should be attracting. In fact, they have a whole narrative in Einsteinian mechanics about gravitational accretion. So yeah, you'd be expecting the gas to be attracting. Even in a vacuum, apparently it does it, right? No, it does not. In fact, it defies natural law to make that assertion.
I think you're misinterpreting how it's supposed to be set up, right? Because Newtonian mechanics completely excluded gases in every form and the consequences. So I think you should interpret the Cavendish test proving mass attracting mass only in solids and liquids, but the gases, which aren't accounted for, are still influenced by the bending of space-time, causing it to hole up in these locations where masses attract masses of the solid and liquid nature.
Oh, God, thank you. Say it 5 more times, maybe. Yes, I occasionally get that from the chat trolls, chat skanks, whatever you want to call them. Well, okay, it's back to the same assertion, Owen. If you want to assert it as mass attracts mass, then you've got to actually back it as mass attracts mass, not just say it excludes gases when they have mass in their paradigm.
Well, they can't assert mass attracts mass anymore because they lost their M2 with the radius.
That's true. Whoa, you're on fire.
Yeah, that's over. You ain't allowed to assert that nonsense no more.
Stunned silence.
It's only within observation, curve function collapse. There's still a radius out there outside of her perception.
Don't measure it, it ain't real.
Yeah, where are you going to get your M2 value? Very good point. I hadn't even considered that. When were you going to... Has that just come to you, or have you been waiting a while to bring that on us?
Yeah. Well, I kind of went into it a little bit, but like QE was trying to move away from Newtonian, and I completely agree with that. So if somebody wants to assert that mass does attract mass, then that's not true either. We don't have the center of M2 does not exist. You can't measure a radius.
It's not true. In pseudo-Riemannian force space, it does exist.
Yes, it might exist in the maths. It doesn't exist in reality. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Black holes suck.
The thing about a black hole, right, is it's black. And the thing about space... No, I'm only checking. Seriously, though, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
The Big Bang Theory?
Not a theory. Theories based
How
on...
did you very manipulate that?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but in theory, if heliocentrism was true, you could test if black holes suck, right?
Right,
The
get that
problem
begging
is,
the
though,
question.
like, how are you going to relay that information? Because as soon as you're able to prove it sucks by getting a proximity, you would get sucked up into it and then not able to return in order to relay the data, right?
Yes, nice that you could get to the end of
Maybe
your example
partially.
having hung the begging the question fallacy right out in the first sentence. Thank you, Owen.
You're welcome.
Any evidence of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Even I can't help you with that, sorry.
That's a silly one.
Yeah, it does seem silly. I've got to be honest. Occasionally we do go through the story of Thea, which I do find quite amusing. Not that we will be doing that now. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon.
We're still waiting.
You'd think
But
if
there's no way
95%
to demonstrate this.
Again, John?
you'd think if 95% of the world knew this for fact and just come in here and argue this all the time, where are they? Why are they in the comments acting scared?
They're feeling a different kind of pressure.
That's it. That concludes housekeeping.
Nathan,
Yes.
Redman 116 put up 3 beautiful pictures he took. It's a masterpiece.
Oh, okay. You there, Redman?
Whee!
I'm here.
Got the first one up if you want to tell us what we're looking at.
This I was taking a picture from that building, and I was looking out. Normally I take pictures of the mountain, but if you're looking at the pictures, you see the way that the sunlight rays are coming in, and they're all different directions.
I think you'll find they're parallel.
No, I don't see them.
That's not a straight,
no.
That's not a straight answer.
No. Yeah, indeed.
It's
I'm joking.
holographic.
Sorry, Redman. Yes, indeed.
No, you good. I just thought there was some awesome pictures just to see the way that the sunlight is coming through. That the line, sunlight is not coming in straight across the board. Now I can't tell you where exactly they're coming from, but there's pretty nice pictures. Just wanted to share.
Epic. Thank you very much.
Coffee.
Right. And by the way, you'll find that if you take another picture of this location where it seems like the light is hitting the ground in crepuscular rays, that on the other picture of the same location, there will be no crepuscular rays hitting that same location. Just saying. It's non-local.
Just like to share my pictures.
I love it.
How about the pictures that I tried to take a picture of the sun, and it just does wonky things. As far as like when you take a picture of the actual sun,
Sure.
it never looks the same.
You've got to have a fair amount of skill
Sorry
to
about
get
that.
sun pictures, though. Check out Paula's channel if you want to see good photography of the sun. So photography isn't my thing, but Paula certainly knows her way around a camera and has got some good sun images. I'm sure it'll be in a playlist. Level Up is the name of her channel. But I love it. People sharing their original images when we're making these points it's just a joy.
Well, at some point, just to dovetail on that last statement, at some point, as the sun is transiting the sky at 15 degrees per hour, it does have the highest point over what they call the GP, geographical position, somewhere on the Earth. And that's what they use for celestial navigation. So no matter what it looks to us from whatever angle or whatever, it is at a different place every hour because it's transiting the sky, and that's how you get a fix using the sextant.
How high are you? I'm sure I've asked you this loads of times. How high are you for this image?
40.
Breaking up.
14th floor, I think you said?
No, the 49th floor of this building.
Oh, 49.
You know how high the tower is? There's like a communications tower in the distance. Do you know how high that is?
I do not know the height of that tower because there's plenty of them that surrounds that building that are freaking high. They're up there.
Okay, fair enough. Good stuff.
I think that the building that I'm in is the 4th largest building in Atlanta, so it's pretty high up there.
Cool.
Check out that horizon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Good picture. But you get some great
Excellent.
shots from up there, right?
Yes.
Not the
I got
first.
more.
I'm sure it
I'm
won't be the last.
addicted to my phone.
Yeah, you don't need fantastic equipment to get really good shots.
This is taking with my cell phone.
Indeed. Nothing wrong with that. Cell phones race these days. Not like 10 or even maybe 15 years ago when there'd be no definition in it at all. It'd be potato vision, right?
They show
Yeah, it'd be
commercials
fuzzy.
of the the iPhone making movies with their newer phones.
Plenty of YouTubers use iPhones. Anyway. Good stuff. Thank you, Redman.
Yeah, no problem.
So any
Got you one
ballers
more
on a
coming in
Friday in
a few
Discord?
minutes.
Friday, everyone's rolling out their week, aren't they? So
Yeah, but are there any ballers in Discord who want to get off chat and have a discussion?
I don't know. There's a few in there. Nobody's piping up so far. Just check if everyone's.
It's way easier to just wait until the comments come out and then, say stuff where you can't be challenged directly.
I'll do a couple of shout outs. So shout out to Flatzoid FE. Did do this appreciation or thanks yesterday, but I'm going to do it again because I took what he had trimmed out from Conspiracy Cat's channel and turned it into a video which will release at 9 p.m. UK time tonight for those of you watching live. So check it out. Called Diffraction versus Earth Curve, #ThanksCats. So as detailed earlier in this live show during the housekeeping, we're now in a position where our own argument, which is to say that things get smaller, #shit shrinks, is now being punted by our own opponents. I'm stuttering over these words because it's quite hard for me to say this because I'm slightly amazed that we're in this position. As joyful it is to be in this position as a flat earther, but that is actually the position. We're literally having our own opponents telling us nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve. Check out perspective. We don't see physical geometry. What bulge? 2021, what great year. Nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve. I think it's so great. Oh, it's a good time to be a flatty. And the commenters are agreeing with me. They're telling me this. They're like, hey, it's a great time to be a flatty, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
They're supposed to be our opponents. Why are they helping us?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I think Adam had a reasonable idea when he described why cats would describe the diffraction limit. It's like, if you can talk about it to your own side, it'll seem like it's been addressed, right? Well, he's talked about diffraction, hasn't he? Yeah. Oh, well, then everything's good. Yeah. Other than that's our argument that we put to you when we point out that you're begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator doesn't account for things getting smaller. They're feet and inches values or meters values being ascribed to the targets only. So it doesn't matter if it's 100 meters away or 100,000 miles away. It's exactly the same value. Oh, it's a 100-foot building. Right, but it's much further away now. Well, it's still 100 foot though, right? Well, that's useful if you want to exclude the diffraction limit calculable in the Rayleigh criterion, as much as I can't believe I'm saying this, currently being detailed by our opponent, Conspiracy Cats. #ThanksCats. So if you want to know how the Rayleigh criterion works, how you can reach and breach a diffraction limit, definitely not accounted for in Earth curve maths, go and check out Conspiracy Cats and its description of the Rayleigh criterion. Exactly as we were detailing 3 years ago, and it was called perspective and ignored. Amazing, really.
It's interesting that they term it that way because the building is physically 100 foot tall for this example. But when it's far away, because of the way our eyes work in the diffraction limit, you may not even be able to even see the building, or you might see part of it. And they're saying, yeah, but it's actually 100 foot. Yeah, if you're standing in front of it, but when you're far away from it, you have limitations with your eye. But you're not at all agreeing that we have any limitations with our eyes.
No, and the defence 3 years ago was no, it's geometric. Ready to account for perspective. What do you mean, perspective? This is geometry. You understand how geometry works? Just fast forward 3 years. We do not see the geometric horizon. We wouldn't expect to see geometry. Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths.
What a debacle.
Yeah, what complete cluster screw on the globe side.
I mean, you can go on YouTube right now, pull up videos about the story of Al-Biruni, and it's the opposite of their position now.
Yeah, their position is you can assert we have a sphere beneath our feet because we can measure it at the horizon.
Yeah, and they credit Al-Biruni for that. And he's in all the textbooks and he gets all the praise for it. And now they come and say, well, he never really saw it to say what he could say.
You there, Virus?
Apparently they're throwing poor Al-Biruni under the bus too.
Yeah.
Virus was in chat
Everybody's
earlier.
under the bus.
Virus was in chat earlier. Hey, Chocolate, by the way.
I heard my
Come
name.
on,
What's
guys.
up?
Well, I don't know if you were reaching out to me when you were like, I want to talk about the Black Swan. As much as I poo-pooed you at the time, I'm like, are you reaching out? What do you want?
Oh, just shit. I would like to have a conversation about the Black Swan. It's something that we actually never talked about. We talked about Coriolis and all that other stuff, but never the Black Swan.
Okay.
Oh, we never talk about the Black Swan here, so I'm glad you brought it up for the first
I
time.
think he means
This
him
should be
personally.
fun.
Yeah, I think he means him personally. Okay.
But now, I'm about to say, if so, we could do it in the after show. Wait a minute, are we in the after show? No, we're not. So can we do it in the after show? Because you know I like to curse and stuff. So
I don't mind.
No, just hold your tongue back.
I don't mind if you curse. You get a pass,
Oh,
right?
okay,
If I have to go through the YouTube algorithm and tell them, I don't mind. Fine.
okay, cool. What?
I'm glad you have
Something about
such
Black-
discipline.
Do you know the argument, Kuma Virus?
Good question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
repeat
if
the
Earth-
argument to us. That's our thing.
Okay, I ain't gonna be exactly precise with the numbers because my memory ain't too well. But if the Earth is has the radius, Earth is a sphere with a radius of was it 33959 or something like that?
Yeah, correct.
Then y'all said what the horizon should be no more of a distance than 1.22 times the height of the observer times what?
Squared.
One, you know what I mean? 1 times 2 the observer's height. There you go. Away from you. And since in the Black Swan is further, y'all say it's not a sphere. Is that pretty much like
Close enough. Yes, that's correct.
Hi there, can you hear me?
We can. But
Painful.
can you wait?
Okay, thank you.
Hold on 1 second, whoever you are. So, what was your question in that regards, Virus?
so? Okay. So y'all have this Black Swan that y'all say because the apparent horizon is that far. Well, because the horizon is that far, then it can't be a sphere. I want to know how did y'all come up to that conclusion?
Because it's almost 10 times as far as it should be.
No. Not should be. No. Right. There's a geometric...
Regarding the global Earth model, that's what I mean by should be.
Fair enough. Hold on. Just hold on 1 second for Virus's benefit. So, you're saying that you don't see the logical consistency, Virus?
Correct.
Okay. I can't help you. If you can't see the logical consistency, what am I supposed to do?
Explain to me how y'all came up with that.
I'll give it a shot, Virus.
Okay.
Do
let
we
me
know
try.
the distance to the 2 oil rigs?
Yeah.
Is the horizon in front of the oil rigs or behind the oil rigs?
Behind.
Okay, then you understand the argument.
I don't understand why it's not a sphere.
Because if
Because
it
of
was
the
a sphere,
limitations of your
tell him.
3959.
Because if it was a sphere, as stated in Modus Tollens, then every distance to the horizon would be no more than the geometric limitations of a sphere. So if you imagine that you're asserting that there's going to be a hill at a specific location, and then you drive to it, and on the way to that hill, you say, when we get there and observe this hill, it'll obscure our view of things in the distance based on its physical size and shape, obscuring our view. That's what hills do. Yeah? And you can calculate them if they're a physical hill in the way. Well, that's what Earth is claimed to be. It's claimed to be a sphere with a particular radius, and that would give it a physical limitation. Now, the thing that bemuses me is that this physical limitation I'm describing Earth to have with a sphere radius 3959 would be the assertion that Earth curve gets in the way of boats and buildings. Now, this is not an argument you are unfamiliar with, so the concept of Earth getting in the way of stuff because it's got physical limitations like a hill suddenly seems vague and difficult to understand. I don't get it. That's the claim. You claim Earth, sphere-shaped, has hump getting in way of boat and building. Very simple stuff. Physical geometry and the limitations because of it. Now, if you've got that circumstance, then like the hill example, the hill's going to get in the way. And the top of the hill's going to be in the way of the things that are behind it. Now, you're not going to arrive at that hill and go, oh my God, the hill is behind everything that was formerly behind it. That makes no fucking sense, does it, Virus?
Yeah, but that's a hill in elevation. This is not an elevation change we're talking about. So this is completely different from that analogy.
Oh, right. So if it's not a hill, it's not an elevation change, that'd be drop. Then what, pray tell, was getting in the way of boats and buildings when people pulled up Earth curve maths and told us that Earth curve got in the way of boats and buildings? That wasn't a hill getting in the way.
No, but it was the ground.
Sorry. So
No.
Stop. Virus. Many of your people on the globe side have come here to tell us that a hill got in the way of boats, and that a hill got in the way of buildings, and that a hill got in the way of the Isle of Man. That hill was called Earth curve, and it was claimed to be getting in the way like a hill gets in the way. Now, I've pointed out with an analogy that gives your Earth curve an equivalence to a hill. Perfectly reasonable equivalence to draw, and the geometry that you assert in Earth curve maths is what you claim, but now you're telling me, no, that's a hill, unlike the hill that used to get in the way of boats and buildings. No, it isn't. We've just debunked it with the black swan, and your justification thereafter is to say it's not actually a hill. No, we agree. The horizon isn't a hill getting in the way of stuff, like is asserted with Earth curve obstructions, hills getting in the way of stuff. No, it's not that, Virus. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Do you consider the Earth curve a hill?
No, you do. I don't consider anything to do with Earth curve. I'm a flat earther. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. When I see something in the distance, I just say what I see. I don't have to justify why Earth curve hasn't got in the way. And in this case, Earth curve getting in the way is a hill getting in the way, and it doesn't. That's what the black swan does. Debunks your hill in the way. And when we point out that you've no longer got the hill in the way, you say, well, that's a hill getting in the way. We haven't got that. That's your defence. So you haven't got an Earth curve hill getting in the way then, Virus. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Don't welcome me to Flat Earth yet. But at the same time, I would also say that just what part of, if Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, what does that, why does that exclude light?
Why does that exclude what?
Why, when y'all say that, y'all exclude light? Like,
I don't say it's not my claim, right? Why are you reversing the burden of proof, Virus? I don't say that. Stop.
I'm not reversing proof.
Sorry.
I'm talking about
Stop. Stop. I heard what you said, and I'd like to respond without you telling me what you're not doing.
Okay.
It is not my claim. So asking me why Earth curve maths doesn't account for light, that would be optical effects. Things like the Rayleigh criterion, currently detailed by Katz. Yeah, we've got the same question. So it would seem, Virus, you're in the same boat as us. Why in unholy fuck does the Earth curve calculator not account for light and optics? That's because it hijacks those effects and calls them Earth curve. And when I point it out, a fundy who's asked me this question will talk through me. Because you're triggered. Why doesn't it include light? Well, because it takes the effects of perspective and calls them Earth curve. That's why. And why am I getting Fundy muted when I point this out? We don't have a hill getting in the way called Earth curve. That's your concession. Welcome to Flat Earth. Your follow-up question is to ask me why the Earth curve maths doesn't have it. It's not my claim, it's yours.
No.
Go and ask your own Fundy
wasn't my
side.
question.
Stop Fundy muting me, asshole.
That-
I know this is devastating and you've just said no, an Earth curve hill doesn't get in the way, even though that's what the maths asserts. Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth X3. Meanwhile, you're starting asking me why Earth curve maths are totally deficient. They're not my maths. They're Earth curve maths. Go and ask the Fundies. Go and ask Mick West why his maths is so deficient. Don't ask me.
Hey, Nathan, that wasn't my question.
I heard your question. Why doesn't it include light? It's not my calculator. Go and ask the Fundy idiots who assert without any effects of optics that geometry gets in the way, that a hill gets in the way, that the hill you tell us isn't going to get in the way, gets in the way, and you want to worry about why it doesn't have optics in it, why light isn't factored in, why it's a radius-based 7/6 terrestrial refraction that only exists in maths. Those aren't my problems, they're yours.
That wasn't my question. My question was, why
Oopsie.
doesn't the Black Swan argument include light?
Because it's about your geometry. Your geometry doesn't include light. Your geometry is what it's debunking. Asking me why the argument that's based on your claim of an Earth sphere radius 3959 doesn't include light. That's your claim, and why your claim doesn't include light. Well, because it's a geometric claim. That's your geometric claim that is totally deficient. Do you understand that?
So you got the modus tollens word for word from the globe.
You claim radius 3959, Earth a sphere. That's what you claim.
So I claim the modus tollens that you give in the Black Swan.
You just managed to repeat it, and your defense was that no, we haven't got a hill getting in the way. We agree. Welcome to Flat Earth. That's the 4th time.
My defense is, why doesn't the Black Swan argument include light?
Why doesn't the Earth curve maths with a radius 3959 make the assertion about light? Because it's a geometric assertion that you make. That's the 2nd time I've told you.
Stop trying to flip my question, Nathan.
Your question, why doesn't the modus tollens include light? Well, because it's based on a geometric assertion of radius 3959, sphere Earth, your claim, that's geometric. Geometric isn't light, it's geometry. And that is why the modus tollens has the assertion of the geometric limitations you claim with your deficient maths. Why are you asking me?
So your Black Swan is about the geometric horizon.
No shit.
So
Thanks
do
for
you have
catching
a
up, bro.
picture of the
No shit, Sherlock fucking Holmes.
Do you have a
It's only taken you 18 months for you to say, so the Black Swan argument's about a geometric horizon. 18 months?
Do you have a picture of the geometric horizon being further than what it is?
Sorry, yes, it's called the Black Swan.
That is a picture of the apparent horizon.
Yeah, and your horizon, based on a radius 3959 sphere, would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as detailed by you. It's not.
Geometric horizon, yes.
Yeah, so we don't have a geometric horizon then, do we? So we don't have
Now,
one.
can I see a picture?
So we don't have one.
Horizon being that far.
Yeah, it's called the Black Swan. We don't have a geometric horizon. That is the conclusion.
That is not the conclusion, because you know a picture of the apparent horizon.
So not the geometric horizon then?
Unless you can show me a picture of it being further than that.
Unless I can show you a picture of the geometric horizon I don't claim and your maths requires. So you're going to try and flip the burden of proof? Maybe start Fundy muting me when I point it out. Of course, right on cue, he's talking through me. Maybe start telling the audience that you're getting muted while you Fundy mute the fact that you've just flipped the burden of proof and demanded that I show you a geometric horizon. The very thing, this argument, your claim of geometry is debunked by, you're going to tell me I need to show you a geometric horizon. No, Fundy Globetard. No interruptions either, Fundy idiot. That is your claim that you would need to show me. It's marked with an X and labelled horizon in your globe maths. And what's that you say? The one we see is an apparent, not a geometric horizon that would get in the way of boats and buildings. Fundy mute continually.
Both in the
You
way.
piece of shit.
Both in the way.
You piece of shit.
Both in the way.
Do you understand why I'm calling you a piece of shit?
I don't care.
Well, I'm calling you a piece of shit because I'm taking apart your argument, and your cognitive dissonance comes in when the devastating conclusion comes, and you feel it's your necessity to interrupt that devastating conclusion. You've just made it clear, well, that's not the geometric horizon we're seeing in that image. Yeah, welcome to flat Earth. Marked with an X, labelled horizon in your geometric assertion based on maths, is a geometric horizon that the horizon we see is not. Ergo, the end of your argument that requires geometric horizons, you complete idiot.
And also the end of your black swan.
Just talking through every word of the conclusion so he doesn't have to respond to it. He's descended to the tactics of rumpus, like the scumbag wanker he is. So rather than listening to a single word I've got to say, you're going to fundy mute it and then go off on a tangent that doesn't address a single word I've said. You've just told me, see how long it takes to interrupt immediately. You've just told me the horizon we see is not the geometric horizon. So we don't have one. It is labelled.
I didn't say that.
It's going to be a constant stream of interruptions. I'm never going to get the opportunity to make the conclusion that proves we're not on a sphere. You coward.
Go for it.
I've tried 6 times. You've talked through it every time. You're a scumbag wanker coward who cannot bear the thought of being proven wrong because you've got a fucking sphere belief. So therefore you won't let me talk. You definitely won't listen. And like now, you're going to interrupt me when you say, go ahead. Why the hell are you talking? When I point out that if Earth was a sphere, radius 3959, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the geometric horizon. Marked with an X. Labelled horizon, constant interruption. Devastating. This is what the Black Swan does to you, virus. Yeah, this is why you fundies don't want to come here. Because when the conclusion comes, you want to talk through it.
Go ahead, man. I'm agreeing with
What,
you.
tell me to go ahead for the 4th time while you mutter through the conclusion for the 7th time, you total coward? You're all scum, fundies. Yeah? Maybe bleat about how I've got a fucking mute button when this happens. Yeah? This asshole who's come here and asked if he can talk about this has told us in no uncertain times the horizon we see isn't geometric. Oh, right. So that horizon, the one marked in your model with an X with horizon written next to it, isn't the one we see then?
Nope.
Welcome to flat Earth.
Don't welcome me to flat Earth. That has nothing to do with flat Earth.
Really? Well, you have a model with a geometric assertion and a horizon that's geometric that you've just told us we don't see.
Yeah, okay. That has.
Yeah, so
But
if you
you're not
can't
even
see
smart
it,
enough to understand why we're welcoming you to flat Earth, bro.
so if you can't
he said,
see
I
it,
said it, he's a dummy.
so if you can't see it, you can't measure it, and if you can't see it, it can't be blocking boats and buildings.
Hold on. I can't measure it?
No,
Why not?
because you can't see it, you stupid boneheaded idiot.
Not in the
Wow,
black
bro.
swan. You.
This is sad.
Sorry, so what you're going to say is it's not visible in the black swan, but what? We can see it under different circumstances. That's wrong, virus. You don't understand your own argument. Everything's always refracted.
No, I understand my argument quite well.
Really? Well, how are you going to measure it if everything's always refracted?
Get high enough.
Sorry, everything's always refracted. You think going higher is going to stop everything being always refracted in your model?
Yeah.
No. So you can't measure the geometric horizon, and the measurement of the geometric horizon gives you an R value. So you haven't got an R value. Further to that, your refraction's based on R.
No, I can get the R value different.
Sorry, you can't get the R value. It's based on a geometric horizon. Don't tell me you can get it. It's based on a measurement of the horizon, the edge of a sphere, to give you the radius. And you can't see that, virus. And you can't go higher. Everything's refracted. And Rumpus is lying about it currently, saying that back in the day when he did say Earth curve got in the way, and he drew a straight line to it, that everything was refracted then too. Everything except the straight line he didn't refract because he needed it to do the geometry that you can't do anymore. You haven't got a geometric horizon anymore, Virus. Is it sinking in while we welcome you to Flat Earth?
You know I can get the R value different ways, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't need the horizon for that. You do know that, right? Do you know that? Does Nathan know that there's more than a few ways to get the R value?
There's 3 ways. Give me all 3.
I said more than a few ways.
More than 2 ways, that's 3.
Count.
Yeah, I can count.
Okay. One of them. Do you want to hear it or do you want to talk?
Sorry, do you want to continually ask whether I know the thing that you haven't told me not, or are you going to tell me how you're going to measure R?
Well, I was going to, you interrupted me. But anyway, you can use Polaris if you want to, or you could use the circumference, you could use the equator, the prime meridian. Take a pick.
What? You can use the circumference. Where are you getting that from?
What?
Wow.
That was great.
Do you want to expand on it? Do you want to tell us how? What's the method? Start with you saying that we've got a circumference, which is actually you begging the question.
What, using the length of the equator?
But the equator's
For
a
example,
midpoint for the Who's interrupting? Shut up. You mean the midpoint for the celestial bodies above us? That's nothing on the ground. That's not an outside edge of a sphere, you assume. Strike 1. Next.
It doesn't have to be the outside of a sphere. It's the equator.
I'll say it again while you completely hand wave me. Maybe you can actually paraphrase what I've said to you back, which presumably you've interrupted, switched off from, and completely ignored. That is a midpoint. Is it going to interrupt it for the second rendition? Fundy coward. Time to rumpus, right? Time for you to rumpus. Equator, outside edge of an assumed sphere, derived from the midpoint of the celestial movements. Nothing to do with the outside edge of a sphere. It's the celestial movements that you average. That's the equator. Not a point on the ground, not the outside edge of a sphere. The midpoint averaged for the celestial bodies. Next.
It is not for the outside of a sphere. It is just to mark the path of the sun when it's during the...
Yeah, that's my fucking point, you dumb shit.
So it doesn't...
Yeah, so that's my point. So it's not the outside edge of a sphere. They're not the outside going to give you a radius. No, it's not going to give you an R value. That's my point. Parroting back my point like it's going to win you a point. Next.
Right. Now you ain't even going to let me finish. How you just going to...
What, let you finish when you've just parroted back my exact argument that it's actually a midpoint for the celestial objects, not the outside edge of a sphere? You parrot that back and think that somehow you've got somewhere to go with this, you stupid idiot. You haven't.
Okay, so basically me saying that was saying that I already knew that. So before you said that, that was also...
Yeah, you're a jabbering buffoon. You haven't got an R value. You need a geometric horizon, you complete idiot. That's what you base your geometry on. It's the heart of it, you idiot. I love hearing Nathan destroy globe-believing fools, said Ted Marks. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Also shout out to Tony Whitcomb. Thank you very much indeed. Reality denier Kumi. Pure and simple. Really appreciate the support, Tony Whitcomb. Also, shout out to Retro Bill. I sincerely appreciate all of the hard work that goes into this thought-provoking channel. Wow, thank you very much. I'm slightly taken aback, Retro Bill. Really do appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
Tell us more about that horizon you're supposed to have that you can't see ever, Virus.
What you want to know about? I wasn't really talking too much about the horizon.
Where the hell is it?
Well, okay, so you have the
that's
black
what we
one.
want to know.
Yeah,
and for a year and a half, you guys have been telling us you don't have one. And why would we expect to see it? Meanwhile, you told us at the same time that boats are going over this thing. So how the hell do you sound right now? Like, do you even know what you're saying? Tell us more. Tell us more how you can't see the geometric horizon. Go ahead.
So what's wrong with refracted objects disappearing behind an refracted objects?
As he's saying it, he realizes how stupid it is. What's wrong with refracted objects going behind a refracted horizon? So you've got a mirage obscuring a mirage, have you now? What an absurd load of old nonsense. What's wrong with objects that we can see that shouldn't see because they're behind a geometric sphere edge obstruction being seen but being refracted with respect to a refracted horizon because we haven't got a geometric one anymore. What's wrong with that cluster screw of nonsense? A lot.
You added a whole bunch of nonsense in there.
Oh, really? Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with the refracted value then, shall I? As that was specifically your question. I have a memory and can listen to what my opponent actually says. What's wrong with the refraction?
That was not my question.
Your refraction
That was not my question.
Your refraction was your question. What's wrong with refracting it?
No, it wasn't.
I think I know what you asked.
It wasn't.
So you weren't asking about refraction. I just imagined that.
Yeah, I did not ask you about refraction.
What's wrong with a refracted target being behind a refracted horizon with lots of stuttering in between was what you said.
Yeah, I was asking.
Yeah, so I fucking heard you, you dumb shit. Right. The problem is your refraction's based on an R value. Terrestrial refraction includes R. And that would require a geometric horizon to have been measured to get 3959 to be part of 7/6 of 3959. So you're going to need the 3959 because your refraction's got it in it. And you can't see it, can you now? So if you can't see a geometric horizon, where are you getting the 3959 for your 7/6 or any derivative of 3959? Because that's what your refraction is. It's derived from the R value that you can't see anymore, Virus.
Polaris. You can get it from Polaris. Or
Sorry, you can get it from some other nonsensical bullshit that you're going to make up. Polaris? What, a star? So a minute ago we were getting the equator from a star, and now we're getting an R value from a star? That's in the sky.
Yep, you can do that too. That's one of the ways I gave you earlier.
Oh, really? Tell us about it. I'll keep the live show going, Virus, as you don't seem that keen to be doing this live. Tell us about how you get R from Polaris.
Hysterical.
You say what?
How do you get R from Polaris? Your claim, dipshit. Back it right now for a live audience.
Go.
You look at Polaris and you see how many degrees it drops down from the sky as you move away from it. For every degree, see how far you went back. And as it goes until it goes all the way down, measure how far you go back. For every degree, you will end up getting around like 69.4. I don't remember, but it's like around 69 miles. For 69 miles, that thing will drop 1 degree. So 1 degree, 69 miles. You use that, multiply by 360. Boom.
Why?
What you mean, why?
Sorry, why are we... What? You're having me on. Why are you going to beg the question of it being circular?
No, you're asked. I'm not begging the question. You're asking for how you get a measurement.
All right, what's the 364? What's the 364?
Circle.
A what now?
A circle.
What, your assumption that it's going to be taking place 1 degree at 69, whatever you said, because you haven't got the vaguest clue what you're babbling about because it's on a circle already. So, begging the question fallacy then.
The shape of the Earth. This is
so you're going to assume that it's circular when you make this measurement then?
Yes, I already knew.
Yes, you're going to assume it, you dipshit. Yeah, so I kept the live show open for a begging the question fallacy where you assume it and just insert a 360-degree circle, the very thing you're supposed to be proving, at the start of your measurement, so you already know you're on a sphere. Oh, right. Why would you already know this?
Why would I assume it? I already...
Yeah, why the fuck would you assume it when you're supposed to be measuring it?
Too.
Yeah, it is assumed. You've just conceded that. Are you going to lie now?
Too.
Yeah, it is assumed. You're going to lie through your back teeth about the assumption you made when you dropped in 360. A circle?
Why would I assume the circle if I...
Yeah, good question. That's what we're asking. Yeah, that's what we're asking.
That's our question, bro.
Yeah, that's our question to you. Weird how when we have a devastating point that we put to you, you seem to parrot it back like it's somehow a defense.
I mean, if it's something I already know, why would I...
Oh, so you already know it's a sphere? Oh, well, why are you making any measurements then? You can beg the question perfectly adequately without looking at Polaris. You already know. That's perfectly acceptable, right? Also a logical fallacy known as circular reasoning, begging the question.
No, so I can...
No. Yes, it is, you complete dipshit, globe-believing idiot. Yes, begging the question fallacy. Yeah. When you assumed you were on a sphere, part of your measurement, that's the thing you're supposed to be measuring and proving. But you're going to assume a sphere and then derive an R value from the assumed sphere you've got. Yeah, that's just a circular reasoning, mate. That's called begging the question.
If I already know it's a sphere,
You don't already know it's a sphere, dipshit. Yeah, we've debunked the geometric horizon and your assumption of an R value. Yeah, you don't already know you'd have an R value derived from a geometric horizon you can't see. What do you mean you already know? You can't see the geometry, so how do you already know? You've got an apparent refracted horizon based on an R value that you already know. That's how you don't already know. Yeah, it's circular reasoning, you dipshit.
Yeah, you're not making it.
Yeah, it's circular reasoning, you complete dipshit. Is this what you came here for? Circle reason your way around the black swan that you haven't got an argument against? You told us specifically you haven't got a geometric horizon. The very horizon marked with an X and labelled horizon in your geometric assertion that used to block boats, buildings and the Isle of Man. But apparently it isn't a hill anymore. Yeah, we know. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Why would you assume if any of that? That don't make sense.
Why would I assume what? A sphere? I don't. You do.
I don't.
What? The 360 degrees of a sphere beneath you that you're going to put in this measurement because you don't assume it? Yeah, you do. You're just a fundy circle jerker who can't bear the thought of having his fallacy pointed out by a flat earther. Who can't bear the thought of me pointing out that you require a geometric horizon after you've told me you haven't got it and you can't see it. You'll fundy mute the crap out of that 6 times, won't you?
No, I heard exactly what you said, but why on earth would I assume the sphere? I mean, like, why would I not know it's a sphere and be looking for a radius unless I know a circle's involved?
Good question. We would entirely agree. And I'll put that to my audience. Why, as Akum Virus asks, would you ever want to just assume a sphere? Why would you need to do it? You don't need to do it, Virus. You don't need to assume a sphere at 360 degrees when you're looking at Polaris. You just do it because you're a fundamentalist religious zealot. That's why you do it.
I never did it.
Oh, really? 360 degrees of what now? A circle.
Why would I look for a radius unless a circle's involved?
You wouldn't unless you assumed one. That's right, Virus. You're snatching your own wig, as Chocolate would say.
Okay, so you asked me how would I find the radius of a sphere. So
no, you're assuming the sphere and assuming you can get a radius from it.
The answer to your question, which was how do you get an R value, that includes the circle automatically. Why would you get an R value with no circle?
Earth, moron.
Why would you get an R value with no circle? Well, you wouldn't, and you haven't. We've debunked it with the black swan, therefore no circle.
A circle involved.
Just fundy muting the answers now. Is it just a constant string of you talking through me when I try and reply?
I wasn't finished.
Wasn't fundy muting, and I've suddenly gone very quiet now. Yeah, you were. That's what you do. I'm responding to you doing it now. Middle of a sentence, you're talking. It's because it's devastating. Why would you assume a circle? Why would I need to assume and get an R value if I haven't got a circle? The answer is you wouldn't. But you still do it. You're still doing it right now. No. You're in the midst of cognitive pain and constant fundy muting. Yeah? While I try and detail that you're asking me why on God's green earth you would assume a sphere. You wouldn't. But you do it anyway. Because you're zealots. That's why.
If you ask me to look for a radius, what other shape?
Sorry, I'm not asking you to look for a radius. You do that of your own smegging volition. Do I go out and say, hey, world, go out and look for the molten iron core? Or... No, I ask you dipshits who claim it to prove it.
Nope, you just asked me 10 minutes ago, what ways do I have to find R? You literally asked me that.
You claimed it. You assumed it. So I'm going to ask where you got it from. That's not unreasonable.
So I'm going to answer your question. And if you're asking me to where is an R value, that means there's a circle involved.
Oh, I see. So because I'm asking you where the fuck you got this assumption of a circle and an R value, you're saying, well, if you're asking me where I got this assumption of a circle and a sphere value, then there must be one because you're asking me for it. Are you nuts? Seriously?
Nothing to do with that, bro. You asked me.
It's got everything to do with a fundamentalist religious zealot on a live show who has an assumption of a sphere and is justifying it by saying, well, you asked me for it. No, I don't give a shit whether or not you assume a sphere. You can't get an R value. We've debunked it. It requires a geometric horizon, marked with an X labelled horizon in your Earth curve maths, used to derive your refraction value at 7/6 of 3959. The R value you can't get, you can't see, and you've conceded that. But now you're going to say, well, why would you ask me to get one? Well, because you assert that you've got one. That's why. Well, if you're asserting that I assert I've got one, I must have one then. That's your logic. You people are imbeciles.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that, if I may, just for a second. Virus, please. So you say you got one from Polaris, right? And is it the same 3959 you got from Polaris when you pre-assumed you were on a circle? Is that true? Is it still 3959?
Shout out to Retro Bill. He says, this fundy for dessert is the cherry on top. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat.
Good question.
Retro Bill.
So, Virus, is it still 3959 if we go with your begging the question? Or has it changed from Polaris?
Okay, hold on. Before we do this,
just real quick. That Polaris.
Hold on, no, because I did that with Nathan, and all of a sudden he thinks I assume a spirit because he asked me for a radius. So are we assuming a shape here?
I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you your Polaris, and let's go on with it. Is it still 3959? The radius?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then let me read the modus tollens. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, no matter who derived it by what means, but you just admitted it was. So here we go. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Well, you're still stuck with the black swan because you need it to be no further than that because it's limited still based on your 3959. So you're screwed both ways.
Shout out to Guns of Navarone RMP, who says, Nathan at the top of his game, poetry to the ears. Thank you very much indeed for the super chats. Credit to the panel just as much as me, Guns of Navarone, but I really, really appreciate the super chat. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
We don't need the R value like that. It's not necessarily proven.
Yeah, you do.
We can also get the R value in different ways. We don't need the horizon.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
What's blocking both the buildings?
Don't have any rebuttal to the black swan because
what?
Now you want to go to, we can figure out the R value some other way, not this way. Right?
I mean, but literally, you can. What do you think geometry is?
Oh, the black swan. Oh, the apparent horizon. Why does it include light? Yeah. Oh, that's because we're not talking about light, moron. We're talking about your geometric Earth curve that you told us you don't have. So keep going, buddy.
I'm sorry. It's that delay. You can go ahead.
All horizons are apparent.
You're calculating your R value based on the presumption that you're on a sphere. You're not finding the R value and then working backwards and saying that proves a sphere.
You don't understand that.
And then confirming the R value.
Okay, you don't look for an R value, period, unless you know a circle is involved. There is no point to even think about a radius unless a circle is involved.
So how do you know that a sphere is involved?
Let's just ask him. How do you know a circle's involved, Virus?
Because you asked for a radius.
Oh, because
a radius only includes a circle.
I didn't ask. We pointed out that if it had a radius, there'd be a limitation to the geometry that we observed. So we don't ask for
I didn't
one.
say that.
I'll say it again because he's interrupted me. We don't ask for a radius. We assert, because it's your claim, that if there was one, it would have geometric limitations and we can debunk them. We don't ask you for one. We debunk the claim you have one.
By asserting something that's not true? You just said you asserted that. That's not even true. What?
What? Radius 3959, Earth the sphere, not true. Yeah, we know. Welcome to Flat Earth.
No, you can't base your apparent vision on something that's like geometric like that when it's light rays bending and not going straight.
Perfect. I'll trim that out and add it to the list of fundies that have decried their own claim. Your tangent point you can't have then to do your geometry. It's all bendy. You know a tangent's straight though, right, Virus?
What do I need this tangent for?
To do the fucking geometry of a sphere Earth.
Why do I need a tangent for that?
To do the geometry of a sphere Earth.
To calculate.
Why do I need a tangent to do geometry on a sphere Earth?
Because that's required to do the geometry.
Says who?
Says your Earth curve maths.
What mathematician said this? Please.
Your maths, not mine. Your maths requires a tangent to do the geometry. Are you really saying cite Earth curve maths? Who came up with this shite? You telling me to cite it? It's your maths.
Nope. I'm telling you to cite what you just told me.
What? The Earth sphere radius 3959, your claim of Earth the sphere? I need to cite that for you, do I?
Nope. Nope.
Well, why the hell are you asking me? Your Earth curve geometry requires a tangent. And you're saying, tell me why it needs a tangent. Well, because that's what's required to do the geometry. Well, tell me why it's needed. You're either a fuckwit or you're completely deranged.
No, I just really, really, really like math. So maybe I am a little deranged because I do love math.
Really? Well, in your maths, you've got a tangent. And you've just told me how everything's bent. Therefore, you can't acquire a tangent to do Earth curve geometry. Why don't you ask me why you need a tangent for your claim?
You're talking through me. It must be devastating.
Oh, you love math, I hear, huh? Hey, how'd you get an angle from a curved surface if you love math so much?
There's plenty of ways to do that.
Show me an angle from a curved surface when angles require two straight lines that form a corner and is a point where we call that a vertex. How can you get an angle with a curved surface? Come on, you love math. Show it to me.
You want me to draw it for you?
You can draw whatever you want. Show me the angle of the Polaris from the equator, from the GP of Polaris, the geographical position on the Earth that Polaris is over that requires your angle.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you got a curve in the way,
10th.
so you can't get that angle.
Sorry, good point, 10th. I rushed past that.
Yeah, that's why you would
How are you going to get the angle,
when you're
Virus?
like, no, I lived in Alaska for 3 years,
Virus,
right? All you
Virus,
can do
Virus,
is
we don't care about where you lived. Shut up.
What's up?
Do you understand what he just asked you or not, dipshit?
I thought you told me to just shut up.
Yeah, do you understand what you were just asked about acquiring the angle to Polaris or not?
Yeah, he wants me to try to get it from a spot I'm not at.
How do you get an angle to Polaris if you're on a curved surface?
Easy. You go stand under Polaris and start walking away from it. And you count the degrees, it drop in the sky. What's up?
How do you get the angle to it if you're standing on a curved surface? You're just looking at it. What are you going to do? What measurement tool are you going to use? Do you know what measurement tool you're going to use to measure this angle on a curved surface?
I'm going to use a theodolite to tell how many degrees it dropped in the sky.
Oh, really? And what are you going to point your theodolite at?
Polaris at the 12 o'clock
So you're
position.
muttering, stuttering fuckwit. Do you know how theodolite works?
Can you not understand me?
What have you got to point it at?
Yeah, can you,
Stuttering,
can you
fading
not
facts,
understand me?
moron. What are you going to point it at?
12 o'clock? Above
12
me
o'clock?
where Polaris starts?
What else are you going to point it at? What are you going to
Or
line it
put-
up with?
Come on, Virus, you love
The-
math.
Starting 0 degrees on Polaris.
Oh, 0 degrees. Where'd you get that?
Do you get that? Do you get that? It's
Where'd you get
starting
that?
point 0 degrees.
Do I get it? Where do you get it?
That's the
You're
starting
making this
point.
measurement. Do I get it? No, I'm asking you where you get it.
It's the starting point.
Where'd you
It's
get
the starting
0?
point. It's the starting point.
Where'd you get it?
It's the starting point for the star in the sky.
Sorry, 0 is a starting point for a star in the sky. That makes no sense. What are you babbling about? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know how to use the theodolite? How do you use the theodolite?
Yes, I do.
How do you use one?
You can zero it out at whatever you want it to be. I've had some that you could zero out. You could point it at the sky and zero out. And that would be your 0 degrees right there where you leave it, where you zero it out at. You could point at the star, zero it out, and start moving back.
So it's at your zenith position when you're directly under it, correct? A true 90.
Hold on. When have you been at true 90 to Polaris?
I've been very close. Well, I lived in you just told me you ain't care where I lived at.
Yo, you stupid twat! When have you been at 90 degrees to Polaris?
You just told me you don't.
Yo! You need it 5 times, you stupid idiot.
So you can sack my balls.
Yeah, you can suck mine.
Oh, not so creative, huh?
When have you been at 90 degrees to Polaris exactly?
Suck my balls. You just.
Is that your response? Because that's not a rebuttal that you've suddenly won with. Yeah, you haven't been at 90 degrees to Polaris. You don't seem to be answering me. You just seem to be telling me to suck your balls, which is what I do when I pummel somebody. So I would say, you're not at 90 degrees to Polaris. Are you at the North Pole?
No.
No. So you can suck my balls.
No.
Yeah, that's right, Virus. Your nonsense measurement where you don't use the horizon starts with you at 90 degrees to Polaris. So at the North Pole. Wow, what are you, a fucking penguin?
When you're in the North Pole.
What are you, a penguin? Or are you sucking on my balls right now as I teabag you with your nonsense that you're definitely not doing? You're definitely not measuring this angle to Polaris. You're definitely not starting at the North Pole now, are you? Maybe you'd like to tell me to suck your balls.
Do you know the North Pole?
Do you know that you're not at the North Pole? Do you know where you are? You're not at the North Pole to get this 90 degrees to Polaris that your example required. So maybe you can answer me how my balls taste, given that you're definitely not teabagging me. You're definitely in that video game having been shot in the face with me standing over you laughing. Because you haven't got 90 degrees to Polaris for your stupid example. 10th man has actually teabagged you. He was the one that let off the smoke grenade. Now we're all teabagging you, laughing at you.
You think it's in the North Pole?
Yeah, you haven't got an R value. You haven't got a geometric horizon. You've told us that a hill doesn't get in the way to block boats and buildings. And your Polaris example, you can't get 90 degrees to it. So what have you actually achieved here, Virus, other than an absolute pummeling?
You think it's in the North Pole?
Sorry, you're going to ask me questions about the North Pole that you're not getting your 90 degrees from?
Yeah, so you think...
Yeah, you're going to ask me about this example I've pummeled and then teabagged you with. Enjoy my balls in your mouth, do you? Yeah, yummy. So you haven't got 90 degrees for your example. Yeah, when I called next on it last time, we'll do that now. Next! Do you want to respawn in a different position?
Where's 90 degrees?
Yeah, do you want to respawn somewhere else, shit for brains? Or do you want to continually get teabagged about the fact that you're not 90 degrees to Polaris at the North Pole? Are you?
Hey, Nathan.
So how do my balls taste? It is going to be the constant teabagging. Maybe someone came to give you a revival and you thought you could start a new argument. Yeah, laugh it up, you stupid twat. You're getting absolutely pummeled by a flat earther. That's right. How dare you ask me how your balls taste? No, mate. Given that your examples have been absolutely demolished and you've specifically told us the Earth curve isn't a hill getting in the way, precisely as claimed in the Earth curve maths, to block boats and buildings, I'm sure you now appreciate having come here asking about the Black Swan, how it annihilates your globe belief that a hill gets in the way of boats and buildings, And how Al Biruni on screen now for my audience is claimed to have measured a geometric tangent point to derive R from, to give you your refracted values that you bullshit about.
You wish we only had the horizon to get the R value, don't you?
Sorry, it's on screen now for my audience. It's the story of Al Biruni. You're going to deny the story of Al Biruni because it's all refracted now? Maybe lie like Ruhif did. Ruhif, the cancerous lying bastard, told us that this demonstration of how you derive an R value by the Al Biruni dip angle measurement was actually Al Biruni taking refraction into account. Because that's what a cancerous liar has to do. Would you like to lie about Al Biruni's line to the geometric horizon being refracted like the cancerous liar Ruhif did? Would you like to lie about what Al Biruni did now?
I don't know nothing about Al Biruni, bro.
Yeah, that's because you're a fucking retard. We know you don't know anything about your Earth curve claims. We do. We know that you need a tangent. You don't even know what one is, and are more than happy to tell us that everything's refracted, but yet you can go up higher to get a tangent. That'll be a straight line required in your geometry. That somehow you don't seem to understand why it's required? And you're going to ask me to justify why mathematically a tangent point's required when you're measuring the edge of a sphere? Yeah, that's your claim that we've debunked that suddenly we need to justify. Suddenly your failings in your maths need justifications from us when we pummel them.
Okay, so first of all, you don't need a tangent and spheres don't have edges.
Oh, really? So no edge to block the bottom of a boat then?
Where's the edge of a...
So no edge to block the bottom of a boat then?
No, you don't need an edge for that.
Oh, so there's not an edge blocking boats then? Spheres don't have edges, and therefore when it's asserted that the edge of the sphere gets in the way of a boat, that's just wrong according to you. Okay, noted. Welcome to Flat Earth. No edge getting in the way of boats, buildings, and the Isle of Man. No sphere edge tangent to block things. Yeah, we know. Welcome to Flat Earth.
What does that have to do with Flat Earth? What does that have to do with Flat Earth? That has nothing to do with Flat Earth.
Yeah, the edge of my nuts can block the view of my feet, but the edge of a sphere Earth blocking boats, buildings, and the Isle of Man has been debunked by the Black Swan.
You got an edge on your nuts?
Yeah, they block the view of my feet, as it used to be asserted that Earth curve did. But according to you, there is no edge, right?
You might want to get that checked out, bro.
Yeah, I've got massive balls. They block the view of my feet, like it used to be claimed that the edge of a ball Earth blocked the view of the Isle of Man. But now when we point out that you haven't got a geometric sphere edge to block boats, buildings, and the Isle of Man, you tell us spheres don't have edges.
I think everybody in geometry knows spheres don't have edges.
So what's blocking the bottom of things again in your maths? Not the edge of a sphere. We're going to go through this 5 times, are we, you fundy fuckwit? With you telling me that spheres don't have edges to block the bottoms of things. So the limitation to our view is definitely not a sphere edge horizon then. Yeah, we know. Welcome to Flat Earth. What's that got to do with Flat Earth? Well, it's asserted that a sphere edge horizon with a geometric tangent point blocks boats and buildings, and you can calculate how much the edge blocks it by. But what's that? Spheres don't have edges. Last ditch hurrah of a man being pummeled.
There is literally no sphere in reality that has an edge.
Oh, right. Well, I can easily hold up a basketball and show that there is a limitation, edge, to the view beyond the basketball. And that is definitely a geometric tangent point horizon on a physical basketball. We just don't have that in reality. Earth doesn't have the same geometric tangent point edge to qualify as blocking things in the distance. A physical ball would. It'd be like a hill in the way. The basketball edge would block things that are beyond the basketball that you can't see. Yeah, that would be a tangent point edge. It used to be claimed that Earth had that. But now when we point out that we've got this Black Swan argument, fucktards like you come and tell us that boats and buildings aren't being blocked by edges. Nobody would ever claim that a sphere has an edge, like the top of a basketball blocking things beyond it. Even though that is your claim of Earth curve, blocking things with the edge calculable and the hidden value behind it. Yeah, you deny your own claim, Fundy.
So there's an edge to your vision, not an edge to the sphere.
Oh, right. So it's not an edge of a sphere. Welcome to Flat Earth.
No spheres have an edge. It could still be a sphere without an edge.
So completely ignore me demonstrating a basketball, right? If it was at the right moment in my slideshow, I'd have Mr. Sensible's basketball with a flint beyond it, and the edge of the basketball obscuring it. which would be a geometric tangent point for an obstruction at a horizon at the basketball edge that you're now denying because we've debunked it in physical reality for an Earth curve. Yeah, our horizon's not an Earth curve edge to block boats and buildings. Definitely not. But spheres can have edges, and it used to be claimed that Earth had that edge blocking things that you now deny.
There is literally no sphere in reality that has an edge.
Sorry, I've just given the example of a basketball blocking a flint.
That's the definition of a sphere. It doesn't have...
Yeah, with its edge blocking the flint that you're denying, you're going to say it 5 more times having ignored me completely 3 times?
The obstruction is not caused by an edge.
Oh, right. Yeah, so the topmost limitation of the obstruction when you've got a basketball and a flint behind it, formally the claim that Earth curve horizons get in the way of boats and buildings, by comparison, isn't actually a limitation to your view of a flint over the other side of a basketball. That's not really an edge. That's just the limit to your view, otherwise known as an edge. The limit. The edge. But it's not an edge, because spheres don't have edges, because we've debunked the geometric edge that you need to claim that you've got an Earth curve horizon blocking boats and buildings. But what's wrong with saying that refraction blocks boats and buildings, right?
No.
No, it's not right. We don't have a geometric edge. Marked with an X, labelled horizon in your Earth curve maths isn't real. We've debunked it. The Black Swan debunked it. You told us yourself. We don't see a geometric horizon, even though your maths has got one. Marked with an X, with a tangent. That's a straight line drawn to it.
The globe never claimed that you can see
fatality. Whoa. What the?
Okay. Whoa.
Can I take a bite out of Akumu? He was on my show too in chat being a total dick.
Give it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a modus tolerance based off the geometric horizon being further than it should be, but you can't provide a picture of the geometric horizon being further than it should be.
Yeah, the edge of the sphere is not a corner in a geometric shape. It's not a corner type of edge. It is an edge, though. It's the edge that you see when you look at it. That's the edge, right? So it's not your little corner in a geometric shape type of edge, you reifying shithead, but it is an edge because spheres have an edge. That's right.
Spheres don't have an edge.
Okay, whatever.
Just
okay.
Just put it in the chat.
You don't like the term edge. We don't have a limit to our view by way of an Earth curve obstruction or hill getting in the way. We don't have that.
Bird.
No, there's no such thing as a sphere having an edge, so I don't...
Yeah, I've just said, I don't care what you call it. Edge, fine, you don't like that term. There's no limit to our view by way of Earth hill getting in the way.
Earth.
Yeah, it's not getting in the way. We don't see a geometric horizon. You told us that earlier.
No, you shouldn't. We never...
No, you shouldn't. But if Earth was a sphere, you would. It would be a geometric limitation at radius 3959, 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And you've already told us we don't have that.
Actually, you wouldn't. You wouldn't see it. We never claimed that.
Oh, really? Al-Biruni claimed it.
No.
Al-Biruni claimed it.
Oh.
How?
I didn't claim it.
How? Al-Biruni claimed it and he got R from it.
I'm not Al-Biruni.
Yeah, and neither am I, but that's where you get your R value from, and the fact that you're not Al-Biruni doesn't change the fact that we've debunked his R measurement, which used the geometric tangent point horizon to get that R measurement. The fact that you haven't done it, you stupid shithead, doesn't change the fact we've debunked it.
Nathan,
how can you debunk an R?
He can't even get it from Polaris. Virus, you still haven't answered the question. Outstanding. Can you, when you walk away from Polaris, when it's directly above you, say 1 degree, you're now 89. You're no longer 90, right?
Oh, we can assume he's at the North Pole now, can we?
Yeah. If you walk 69 miles away, it's drop 1 degree.
Good. Let me have him. So you walk away.
You can zero it out at the star and just let it.
Hang on, Virus. Calm down. You love math. Don't be afraid of me. When you're directly under Polaris, assuming you were, you're at 90 degrees, correct?
Okay.
Correct?
Okay, continue. Right. Continue.
Correct?
I said, yeah, continue.
No, I want to hear the word correct so you don't come back and double speak. When you're
So
directly
sad.
under Polaris, are you directly at 90 degrees to it?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to let you walk 15 degrees away from it. Quit talking, please. I'm going to let you walk 15 degrees away from it. Are you now at what?
Okay.
85?
90. It's going to be a little above 90.
75?
Needs a calculator.
65?
It's going to be a little above 900 miles.
Dude.
away
No,
at
not
15
miles, degrees. 90 minus 15 is what?
If it's 15 degrees dropped in the sky, that means you walked at least a good 900 miles back.
Forget the miles. Are you 15 degrees now? What are you in degrees to it? We'll come to miles later.
How many degrees did it drop from the sky?
Minus 15. What's 90 minus 15, math wizard?
90 minus 15.
That's rough, huh?
What is
Wow.
But if it's 75, I mean, what's wrong?
Thank you. So now
now
Polaris virus is 75 degrees to your location, but it's still exactly 90 from where you left it, and you need two straight lines. Hang on, virus, don't fundy mute me. You need two straight lines continuing all the way to the equator.
Stop. No, he doesn't want to hear it.
It's only 45 degrees. It's only going to be 45 degrees. It's not going to be 70
him
degrees.
because he's in the middle of a point, virus. And what you've done, because you are like Rumpus, a cunt. He's in the middle of a fucking point. So shut up. Let him make his point. Try, I know it's hard, to actually listen to it. Not fundy mute the shit out of it. Not interrupt. Not say go ahead when you can't minus 15 from 90.
Look,
and then when you finally do talk incessantly through the actual point that's being made. Shut your stupid mouth.
I'm sorry you can't talk and listen at the same time, Nathan.
So shut up. Go ahead, 10th.
Let him go.
So immediately, before you've got a single word out from 10th, he's babbling like the fundy asshole that he is.
And when he got the first word out, I was...
Yeah, and immediately, all we're trying to do, or I'm trying to do with you, Virus, now, is shut you up. That's rhetorical, you stupid clown. You are really insanely stupid. If you can't understand after I'm literally yelling at you that the whole point of me interjecting, stopping 10th man from talking, is to get you to shut the fuck up. If you can't comprehend that this is not rhetorical, right? It doesn't require any reply. It requires you to shut your fucking microphone. Mute yourself, you stupid retard.
Go for it.
Mute, you stupid bastard. Are you dumb? Find the mute button and press it, you stupid fuckwit.
Wow, such a simple point.
Hold on,
so out of hand.
Stop. No, he's got his mic wide open. He's going to close his mic, listen to what you've got to say, not interrupt every fucking word of it. Mute, Virus, so we know you're listening. Virus, I'm not going to let 10th man make his example with your mic wide open so you can interrupt him. Thank you. Go ahead, 10th man.
Yeah, so if you're directly under Polaris, that's your 90. You walk away, no matter how far the distance. Then you take a measurement with a theodolite or a sextant, and you can figure out your angle to Polaris when you're no longer under it, where it was 90. So maybe you walked a distance, and now it's 75 degrees to Polaris. Well, how do you derive that angle? Well, you need two straight lines, and a right angle is in play here. And what you're doing with your eyes is the triangulation. You become the hypotenuse here. So your angle, if you keep going away towards their fictitious equator, let's put it, you can't do that on a curved surface and retain angles. You need two straight lines. So when you do a right angle on top of a sphere, the zero line is going into open space, not to the equator. Because that zero line can't bend. Excuse me, I'm not done. Okay. That zero line can't bend.
There was a delay. I'm sorry, my bad.
That zero line can't bend if you want to know the angle So if you're going to use angles, you need two straight lines to form a corner. The corner is the 90 when you are under Polaris. Now you want to say, well, if I'm over here and I'm looking at Polaris, what's my angle now? You got to extend that straight baseline straight. That's your tangent. Well, that's going into open space if it's on top of the sphere when you look at all the orthographic depictions of it. But if you say you're at the equator, the midpoint, there's no way you can even measure an angle unless you cut through the earth with a cord. But you can't do that because you're on the surface taking the measurement, which means in reality, you're on a flat plane getting the correct angle to Polaris because you moved that much distance away, but you think you're on the sphere. Well, your math destroys you because you can't get an angle with one straight line and a curved line. It's impossible.
Hey, Tenth, can I ask you something?
No, answer that.
Well, why?
Can you get,
Hold on.
Get an angle from one straight line and a curved line the way you're depicting, or do you need two straight lines?
I'm not depicting anything about any kind of angle. Where did you get this angle from?
Can you form a corner to get a true angle if one of the lines doesn't remain straight but curves away? Can you?
No, I don't think so. But where are you getting these angles from? Why are you using angles?
Flat Earth. I'm done.
Why are you using angles?
You're claiming to measure angles to Polaris. He's taking it apart.
So,
maybe the reason that you're going to constantly fucking interrupt me is because you've just taken an absolute pummeling. You're the one measuring them. Maybe you're going to now ask us why you'd be measuring them. Well, because we've requested them. Or some other dumb shit that you're going to come up with.
Yeah, because I'm not using angles. What are you talking about?
What, your claim that you can get an R value by measuring angles to Polaris?
I never said anything.
Oh, you didn't? You're going to deny it? You're a lying bastard then?
I said...
So you're a lying bastard then? Am I going to kick you out like Rumpus for lying? Yo! You claimed angles to Polaris, you lying fuckwit. Are you going to now lie or are you going to apologise because you've just started lying about it?
So when you do...
So don't tell me what I've done, you lying bastard. So your angles to Polaris that we've just debunked. Yours, right? Why would we ask about angles? Because you're claiming them.
No, you heard...
No. So now I'm going to kick you out for lying.
No,
Are you going to be branded a liar? This is your last opportunity, scumbag. Yes. You absolutely made the assertion you could get R by measuring angles to Polaris. Your claim. Now you're flipping it to his claim. No, it's your claim. Why would you be measuring them? It's because you've claimed them.
A claim. Or are you just going to talk through my claim?
So he's talking through me. Lying bastard wants to talk through me, pointing out that you're lying. You made this claim of angles to Polaris. Now you're denying it and asking why you'd be talking about angles.
Using degree drop does not mean you're using angles.
So you are making that measurement and that assertion then, which is why he's pulling apart. So you were lying when you said you hadn't made that claim, and now you're going to lie through me. Constantly. Constantly fundy fucking mute me. What a wanker. This is what we get, scumbags. Yeah? You want to know why I got a low tolerance for you assholes? This is why.
Talking about the reason.
Yeah, it's just talking through me constantly. It's not listening to a damn word I say. Well, I point out that asking us why we'd be talking about angles, and me pointing out because you've claimed it, and then you denying that you've claimed it, is an outrage.
You're debunking the argument nobody made.
Oh, so you didn't claim angles to Polaris?
Degree drop from the sky. How many degrees it drops from the sky?
Degree,
Come
is
on,
a degree an angle? Is a degree an angle, you lying piece of shit?
Yeah, I don't need the...
Yeah, it is! So you're a fucking disgusting, globe-believing, lying bastard. So you are claiming angles and you lying fuck.
Man?
Yeah, you are a lying fuck. You all are, you globe bastards. I hate all of you, including you, Virus. You've just lied to us. I'm going to calm down now I've finally got the concession. Yeah, the reason we're talking about these angles is because you claim them. And then you lie about claiming them, you piece of shit.
I use degrees.
Shut up! You piece of shit liar. You can be berated for your lies. You deserve to rot in hell.
You can't even fucking.
I would cut out your tongue if you were here, you disgusting liar.
Mute this piece of shit.
I would cut your tongue out of your mouth, you disgusting liar.
Oh, but for some reason, you would let.
Get out of my hangout and do not return. Every time one of you scumbag fucks comes here and lies through your back teeth to me, there will be no re-entry. I am sick of it. He's just taken us round this merry dance only to deny the very claim he's made and then lie about it. What piece of shit.
Goodbye, cornball.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that is pathetic.
Hold on. He planned this whole thing because he wanted to come on in the after show. He knew what he was going to do.
But at the end of that process, it's outright lies. That's all they've got. I didn't claim any angles. Why are we talking about angles? Why would you want us to talk about angles? Because you claim them. No, I didn't.
Wow. So when Akuma was mentioning degrees, did he mean temperature?
No, he meant
Because
angles.
Other than that, I think it's always going to be an angle. So this guy's literally just trying to tear apart the logical foundations of math and all that and geometry.
Get rid of this dude forever.
We
He's
take
now in the
apart
chat,
we
you know?
take apart a globe argument
Get
and
rid
they
of it.
will deny their own claim in the first instance and lie about it. For example, drawing a tangent to an Earth curve edge horizon, a straight line. When you point out that you haven't got it anymore, you'll claim that you've always refracted it. Lie. Or you'll claim that you can measure angles to Polaris. And then when we pull that apart, you'll say, why would we be talking about angles? I haven't. You'd have to lie. That's what they do. They lie when we pull apart their position. Or get us to justify the failure in their own argument. That's what we're at now.
And this guy called himself a mathematician in my chat this morning. Really?
90 minus
That's your
15.
math?
What's 90 minus 15?
Dude, he's a liar. Like, about everything. This guy's a pathological liar and a creep. He was at it in my chat all morning. Totally called him out. He said some things about what he did back in his own life, right? And not even being ashamed for it. Like, I'm not even gonna say it. You have to watch my hangout.
The way Rumpus sounds like a greasy lawyer, this guy sounds like a greasy hustle man. To me, that I've met people that sound like this guy, that talk like this guy. That's what he sounds like. Just a liar, just a hustle man, just trying to sell you a Rolex that has a D. It's actually a Dolex, but he's going to tell you it's a Rolex. It's the same nonsense.
Well, you know what he literally said
That's a
in
great
my chat
analogy.
this morning? You know what he literally said? I used to deal meth on the streets.
Yeah, that's not talking.
Okay? Yeah.
I don't care. That's not a subject for this show.
It's a literal quote, though, from
don't
him.
care. Sorry, Arwin. No offense to you.
Didn't he start out by saying that he was at a 90-degree angle to Polaris?
Yes.
Yep.
Such a liar.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit, all of them.
Are we sure this is a case of lying, or perhaps, I mean, I don't mean to insult, but is it possible he's ignorant of the fact that a degree is a measurement of a plane angle?
No.
That's a possibility. He is pretty stupid.
He claims he's a
Yeah, but not that stupid. When you get that stupid, it's on purpose. It's literally to sow confusion because you lost the argument. Gaslighting, but he's only gaslighting himself. Typical baller.
He's a math magician. He does magic.
Just
Dude,
for the audience.
The only one he's
fair enough.
magicianing is himself.
I might give him a second chance on that. Just on that score, whoever that was, you've just saved Virus's bacon for the next time he returns. So kudos to whoever you are for doing that. Anyway, on screen
That's
now for
random.
the audience.
Thanks.
We've got Mr. Sensible's example of what they claim Earth is. and how it obscures things with a physical geometric hill in the way of this flint. That's what their edge used to be when they claimed that the Earth got in the way of the Isle of Man. That's an Earth curve edge obstruction, analogous, they said, to this ball. That's what's in their maths. Well, if the Earth was a sphere, radius 3959, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the black swan shows beyond all certitude that the horizon is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere, radius 3959. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere. The hill that should get in the way, with its physicality, has been breached. Well, you can't have Earth as a sphere with a hill that's suddenly not there one day. That means the limitations of the geometry are no longer applicable. We have debunked Earth as a sphere.
But please keep telling us how we have no geometric horizon. That boat's supposed to go over. Please keep telling us that. We like it.
My passion with Virus is because somewhere I think deep down there's a good person inside Virus, and he's actually asking because he wants to know. That's what I truly believe. I sense it from him. As much as he frustrates me, it's actually because I like him. If I didn't care, I wouldn't get that frustrated with him.
Yeah,
Dude, that's just his sales tactic. Remaining likable against all odds. It's a sale tactic on the streets to survive, right? Don't fall for it. He is a merciless scumbag liar, the worst, and he will not relent for anything.
Yeah, I agree with Owen. Some of the things he said in chat a few times just really makes him look sleazy.
Yeah, I'll agree he's sleazy, but I'm not gonna account to malice what could be accounted for with stupidity, if I could get the saying correct. So, there.
Well, I kept saying that earlier. As soon as he started, he's just dumb.
Yeah, exactly. So therefore, me saying get lost, don't ever come back is probably a bit unreasonable. Off the back of Rumpus and my disdain towards him for 4 straight years, Varus shouldn't really have that tagged onto him. Not really fair.
Well, I'll take Rumpus over Akumu virus every day of the week. Well, no, please not every day, but because Rumpus at least
come on, Owen.
but seriously, Rumpus knows actually how to do math. He tries to trick you with it, of course, but he actually knows something. He's not just bluffing about every single thing. He bluffs about a lot, but not everything. Akumu virus is just bluffing about everything because he doesn't know shit. He has no skills except for bluffing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fire, bro.
It's obviously emotional for you at this stage, Owen.
I had him in my chat for like an hour, and I had to go through this sort of shit just from him in chat. So I'm already done with my fill of Akumu virus for today, even before he came on this show.
Plus, there's going to be a certain masochistic percentage of the audience that just like hearing me get wound up, regardless of if I'm getting annoyed, and can still just about scrabble together the concise rebuttal to each position he puts and summarise his positions previously when he contradicts his own position. But I'm still getting frustrated with him for all the reasons I just gave. Deep down, the reason I invited him on now, while he was there, sat there, is because he's been in chat on Owen's show, admittedly, and he's been saying, like, I want to talk about the Black Swan. Well, I see that as an appeal to actually discuss the subject. Now, I don't doubt that that's going to leave him in cognitive dissonance and having to fire off contradictory positions. But by the same token, when you deny that you've claimed an angle and ask us why we're asking him about it, it's like, no, that's a poor attempt to flip the burden of proof. He knows it and I know it. Not unreasonable for me to kick him out now. Probably a bit unreasonable to say don't ever come back.
Hey, Nathan, I got a picture for you, Master B, that will relate.
Okay.
Tell me when you got it up. It's the one with the red triangle and the pine tree.
Got it. It's on screen for the audience.
Do I even need to say anything?
No.
It's pretty much right there, right?
Unless he begs the question with his Polaris, he's drawing a straight line like a hill in terms of if you plotted it. That's what he's viewing. It's only when he begs the question that he goes around a sphere, but then it screws up the measurements. How's he going to take the measurements, as you're pointing out? Well, you can't. So what they do is they take the measurement and then assume after the fact, or unless they're surveying it when they assume before the fact, that it's a sphere. It's like, well, you've got this assumption, but you can't do the measurements if you've got that assumption actually being real.
Well, they take the measurement on a flat plane. That's why the measurement is true. Then they draw that local tangent line, as we see in all the orthographic views of circles, and they limit that line just almost where it's at the point of touching a sphere. And it's extended a little bit more than that, as we've seen before. The whole point is you can't keep that angle unless that line goes to where the observer is. Well, if the observer is at the equator, well, that's a curved surface. There's no way you're going to be able to have the angle to Polaris from a curved surface, and you say you're at the equator, so everyone imagine in your mind where that would be, side of the ball, and then at the top, say north is Polaris. You'd have to plow through the earth with a cord to get that straight line, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is you're on the surface with that sextant, and it's got to be a straight line. That zero horizon line has to be all the way to where the geographical position of Polaris is, which is it's 90 degrees directly over that place on the earth. So it destroys the ball right there. It's over for the ball.
It's also a nice way to be able to describe how you've got a zero line at the horizon, giving you the limitation of your angular resolution against the zero line of the deck, i.e. the angle increases from the deck. So where's the most limited angle? Well, at the deck.
Yeah. But this is why I've said in past shows that whenever they bring up refraction, it's ball game over, right? Because it's no longer geometric. But if they bring up refraction with a sextant argument, it doesn't matter. Because in a fun way, I'll say bring up Fata Morgana, bring up Mirage, and bring up whatever you want. Guess what? It still has to be a straight line to the GP of wherever that star or sun, wherever it is. And that's 3, 4, 5, 6,000 miles away. So it just blows right through refraction and mirages. That's just optics. That's just your eye. That doesn't mean that that isn't a plane for you to get your angles from. It still remains a plane beyond what your eyes show you or don't show you.
Hey, Adam. No.
Afternoon, guys. Sorry about that.
That's all right. You joined right in the middle of it.
Having a refracted object behind a refractor horizon.
You need to tell me what's right about
Wrong
it.
with that? That is not geometric.
Oh, y'all talking?
Thanks.
Oh, y'all talking to me?
No.
Oh, okay.
The apparent horizon is beyond the geometric horizon.
The one you can't see.
You can see it. It's over there, like in the middle of the picture on the ground.
Hey, Virus.
Right, just to be a
horizon if you can't see it.
Just to be a complete flip-flopper. So I might have taken out a little bit of my disdain for the rumpus out on you, Virus. However, you scumbag. However,
okay, I understand. It's the show.
Trying to give you props, don't interrupt. Right. Joining when currently there's what would you call it? High degree of fear from Globers. Right? Props. At least you've joined. At least you've had a bash. Good for you.
I appreciate that. I would, man. Every time y'all say my name, I will happily join.
Don't
bring back Rumpus Bannakumovers.
Look, he's developed a good discussion in this regard, right? He's given us another opportunity to go through the Black Swan, as much as his cognitive dissonance and what I've labelled as lies has come through abundantly. Doesn't change the fact that we've had an opportunity to discuss it, thanks to Virus. So thank you very much, Virus.
Thank you for allowing me to come on the show.
Oh, all are welcome, of course. Except Rumpus, he can go fuck himself. With that, though, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.